奥风 M6旗舰 Pro 按摩遮盖小弹腰2.0。3D 云朵枕，空调座舱，立体机械臂。
biu biu 是我运营的产品，我想通过它和更多不懂分寸的人一起探索世界的边界。正是这些不懂分寸的人，也许他们不被理解、任性、固执，甚至疯狂。
就是我。
但如果没人去打破边界，谁又能玩透世界呢？
打开微信，搜索公众号“星际老男孩 SC Boy”。这里有每日的直播预告、重要的赛事报道、精彩的视频剪辑、有趣的主播八卦、定期的抽奖福利以及爆笑的节奏和评论。关注 SC Boy 官方公众号，365天每天更新，让你与20万猛男一起更便捷的享受我和黄哥给大家带来的快乐。不要告诉别人哟。
Of Sparkling Tuna Cup, and the Sparkling Tuna Cup finals lasted an hour, so we're an hour behind schedule. We are casting from the beginning, but the games that we are casting are an hour delayed in a way. It's like we're casting with an hour delay, kind of. So just as a heads up, and here we go. We have our first matchup. We have Offside versus Mystery Gaming. It's gonna be Rex versus Cyan, Firefly versus Strange, and Uwu Thermal versus Coffee. Interesting. Okay, I feel like a lot of these matches are hard to call and difficult to predict. I feel like Rex and Cyan are pretty comparable in skill. Firefly and Strange, likewise. Euthermal and Coffee, I would favor Coffee there, but Euthermal is a wild card. Difficult to predict. Anything could happen. And we're getting ready for our first matchup for Rex versus Cyan. Here we go. You can see here that Rex hasn't had too much of a history here in WTL, so he's coming with a fresh MMR. You can see Cyan dipping down a little bit lower. Cyan, he was one of the ace players of the Starving Camels, did well for himself, but has since left the Starving Camels as we settle on in. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Rex for Offside. And in the top right, we have his opponent, we have Cyan for Mystery Gaming. Here we go, and speaking of, in the middle of the map, a shout out to the sponsors of WTL. Shout out to Doyu, shout out to Biu Biu, Autofool, and SC Boy. Massive shout out to the lovely sponsors of WTL. Without them, this event would not be possible. Without them, we would not have World Team League, we would not have Kung Fu Cup, we would not have Masters Coliseum, we would not have Stars War 11 either. Again, they do so much for not just the Chinese scene, but for StarCraft in general. Much love. Much love. It feels a little bit weird. It feels like a little bit sad that we can't really support the sponsors much, like because the sponsors are all, I believe, Chinese based. So since I imagine a lot of us are based outside of China, like we can't really do much there. But you know, much love nonetheless. Much love. Gracias, papi, gracias. As we are settling in. For now, we do see Rex going for a Hatch Gas Pool standard opener from the side of Rex. From the offside of Rex, if you will. Meanwhile, across the map, Cyan going for a gate expand as well. Everything looking as it should for the time being. Nothing too wild, nothing too quirky yet. Cyan usually thrives in the mid game. Just bear that in mind when it comes to his play style here. So we shouldn't see anything crazy early on. When it comes to our tech of choice and even our follow-up tech of choice, that's what we have to be paying attention to Cyan. Moments as I do try to set up those commands. Here we go. But for now, we do see Rex scouting across the map with his Overlord. Can we just be confirming the setup, confirming the opener, making sure there's no 2-gate opener, for example, as we're easing our way into Crimson Court. Now, Crimson Court is an interesting one. We do have a center rich Vespene gas base that you can expand to early on as a 3rd. We could take it later on as a 4th as well. That is quite a valuable location, a valuable base to take, as you can see here that the Protoss player is checking and scouting. And if Rex did come in prepared, that base could be a factor. Speaking of being a factor, here comes our first tech of choice. It is not a Stargate opener. Cyan, he's going for a Twilight Council. Oh boy, a much more aggressive start here from the Protoss. Now with a Twilight Council based opener, we can go for a Glaive Adepts, we can go for a Dark Shrine, we can go for something crazy like a Charge based all-in, or something else a little bit more unorthodox. But for the most part, it should be either Glaives or Blink. Sorry, Glaives or DTs as the Overlord gets away. Oh my god, Cyan with the shake of the head. And Rex feeling pretty good. Again, we saw him leaning back earlier. Mate, nothing can get him. Or it's been a good day. Nothing can catch him off guard. Overlord does slip away. Cyan a little bit upset about that. Behind this, it is in fact going to be Glaives. We have additional gateways in production. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there's no Robo. I may have missed it, but I don't think there's a Robo out from Cyan, which means it's only going to be Adepts and two gateways on the way. The first one is already done. It's going to be 3 gate Adepts. This looks like a macro Glaive Adept build. And yeah, we're mining through the minerals. So what do I mean by a macro Glaive Adept build? Because we skipped the Robo and because we did not throw down a 4th gateway, it's 3 gates, we have enough money for a 3rd base. We have enough money for a Nexus. So as you can see here, we're mining through those mineral patches and we are going for the 3rd. Now, this means a couple of things. One, Cyan is moving out with Adepts, but there are going to be significantly less Adepts than normal, and there's no War Prison to reinforce. So there's a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, Cyan can't do a lot of damage. On the other hand, he also has to be very careful to lose his Adepts. If the Adepts go down, then he's going to be in a little trouble. Rex, he's already mined through the minerals! Oh my god, Rex, he's ready for this! With the Overlord that survived, right? The Overlord lived. He saw the mining minerals already ahead of time with that Overlord that survived. And now he's ready to punish. Ready with these Lings Adepts they get across the map. Meanwhile, Rex, he dives on the 3rd base. And the Nexus is going to be denied. Not just that, can we get into the Natural? Not quite. The Natural is safe. The Adepts, they get across the map, but there's nothing to kill. The drones are forced back. Yeah, forced to back off. Adepts are surrounded, and we should force that cancel. More Adepts will bring it. We bust into the Natural. The Natural is being broken. We ignore the 3rd base. We head into the mineral line. Rex maybe being a little bit too ambitious there, a little bit too greedy. Does get us around with more Adepts. Can he get the Nexus? It's going to be close. Can he get the base? Oh, he cannot. The base, it's so low. It's so close to going down. But Rex barely does not break through. Does not break through here. And we're in a really interesting position. On the one hand, Cyan didn't really do much damage and he's getting into Immortal production behind this. On the other side though, Rex wasn't able to fully punish him. He was able to deny mining time and disrupt the build and cause chaos, that's true. But Rex, I'm sure, was hoping for more damage. And again, if he had killed that Nexus, that would have been insane. That would have been so good for him. Alas, instead, we're going to be easing our way into the mid-game, droning up, taking a 4th base. Likewise, Cyan also transitioning into his more Immortal-heavy composition. Has not gone into Blink yet. Ooh, I'm loving the positioning with the Spine Crawler. Very nicely done. Rex, I'm loving the ingenuity here. I mean, again, for those who maybe, I mean, it's in my mind for a moment as well. Adepts, they cannot shade past a building, and Spine Crawlers, they can't. So he just walls off. He just walls off that location. So again, just really smart here out of Rex. Meanwhile, the rest of the Adepts have arrived. We're now into Ling Roach. We are going to be threatening the forward base. Roach is going toe-to-toe with the army. Roaches are going down, by the way. Yeah, rough trade from Rex. But he had to split up. He had to chase that shade. Ravager goes down. The Adepts shouldn't commit. We commit! Oh my god! We commit to the shade. Lings are in position. The drones are going to be able to evacuate. Very little economic damage is done, but we're chasing down those drones. We want them. Good target firing here by Cyan. Does get 3 drones. Shades into the main. Lings are lying in wait. But once again, more lost mining time as we attempt to shade on out. But as we shade away, we should be cleaned up, but not before we kill 7 more drones. This is adding up. 8 drones go down. With that, Cyan takes a worker lead. He's got 69 workers. Nice. Now up to 70. 70 probes here for Cyan. And remember, he's been building up immortals this entire time. I think he's up to 4. I think he's got 4 immortals. He's ready for a counterattack. Speaking of, Rex is going to try and push out. We have to break free. Rocks are being knocked down. Eventually, they will slowly falling. Rocks are knocked down. Rex rotating over towards that 3rd. Gary's going to get filed down. We can see the Immortals having a really hard time engaging just because of the SimCity working against Cyan. This area getting quite congested. We do shut down all 3 gateways. Soon to be, all 3 gateways. Good force fields, you do cut off some of those roaches. Roaches are cut off. Shield batteries are finishing up bathers to get into the mineral line. Late reaction to Cyan, 13 probes go down. Good damage done, and now we could even try to go for the Nexus. We're trading with the army. Overcharge is popped. The base getting low, the base goes down. That's all that Rex needed. He kills the 3rd, and he backs off. Now, Cyan does have a 4th, so he has a backup base, a backup 3rd, essentially. But he lost a lot of probes. He lost a big chunk of his economy. Going for a counterattack. Now, what's scary with this counterattack is that Cyan did keep all of his immortals alive. He's got 4 immortals with his army. That is quite a lot of DPS here on roaches. So Rex has to take this seriously. Backing off, committing here still to Lingbane Roach Ravager. Almost gets a Stalker. Almost. Yeah, again, this choke point is brutal. Rex, he cannot engage, cannot push in. He's trying to, though, but yeah, he's just going to be force fielded. Bleeding out some Lingbane. Rex forcing the issue, though. Does make his way through. And not an easy push, but he does collapse on the Immortals. 2 Immortals go down. And Rex, has he done it? There's 2 Immortals left. We're running out of Lingbane. The Ravagers are exposed. And Rex has to pull back. But honestly, that was a pretty good trade. Now, Rex, he may have lost a lot of Lingbane, but he killed 2 Immortals, and that was most likely worth it here. I would say that was worth it. The army of Cyan is crippled, and Rex is remaxing. He's rebuilding as we speak, getting to more Lingbane. He did retain most of his Ravagers. Not so much Roaches, but mostly Ravagers. And he does get eyes on the 4th. Now Lings are peeled off. Shield battery is finishing up. It's going to get filed down immediately. And we're going for the surround. We're running out of force fields. We're running out of energy. We collapse here on top of those Immortals. We focus them down. As we blink away, we expose said Immortals. And both of them fall. Do pop the overcharge. We have to respect it. We are forced back. Okay, that's a lot of Stalkers. We have run out of Lingbane. So once again, once we run out of that buffer, we have to respect the army. We have to retain these Ravagers. As I say that, 1, 2, 3 Ravagers going to get sniped in the retreat. Oh, these are expensive losses for Rex. That was 5 Ravagers going down. That was brutal. 6 Ravagers even. We also had some harass back at home. Very nice trades, or very nice pickoffs there by Cyan. And again, even though the supplies are in favor of Rex, the suit does lie. It's inflated because of the Roach Ravager. The armies are actually far closer than they seem. So this is still on a knife's edge, especially considering that Cyan has re-expanded. He's back on 4 bases. Cyan has an even worker count. Cyan is actually ahead in the economy. Rex has been all in this entire time, essentially, and he's been needing to win the game, to end it, and he hasn't. Adepts harass across the map. They drag Rex back home. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Cyan as we shade in, and more drones are going down. 6, 7 drones fall. Rex going for a counterattack, going for a run by. does break in. But we have a force field. Going for the Cybercore instead, but the overcharge does keep the Cybercore alive. War Prism. Ooh, does live. Barely. Barely does survive. Meanwhile, Rex, he's starting to fall behind. He's starting to fall behind here in the supplies. Things are getting worse. Now, thankfully, there's no splash damage. There's Storm. There's no Archons. But regardless, Cyan has a pretty comparable army here. You can see Rex going for the mineral line. Quick reaction out of Cyan. He does pull away. He pulls back. So you have the ebb and flow of Lingbane. Cyan pushing onto creep, or at least standing outside of it. On the edge. Spinecrawler does tank some shots. Good force fields. Very nice force fields. Rex bleeding out a lot at the same time. We do get in. 16 probes go down. Very nice counterattack. As Cyan was distracted with the force fields, with the main army. We bust through that mineral line. At the same time, though, drones are going down. Oof, we clean up the adepts. Cyan is pushing. Now, even though Cyan just lost a lot of his workers and a lot of his economy, the main army is terrifying. We're back up to 4 Immortals, and that's a lot of Stalkers. And Stalkers, they do not go down easy. As we blink away, we do expose those Immortals. They're getting low, but they're living. Good juggling here by Cyan. And for the first time in a long time, again, we're evening up the supplies. Cyan is getting ahead in army supply for the first time since almost the start of the game. Rex is in trouble. Rex is in a lot of trouble. As we mentioned before, Rex has been all in for quite some time, and he has not been killing his opponent. Rex now up against the wall. And did we lag out? We did. No. Oh, so it looks like the clean feed went down. Wow, it looks like the clean feed went down, and here we go. We're getting into game number 2. It looks like, I mean, the writing was on the wall there, but does go the way of the Protoss. In the top right, we have Cyan. In the bottom left, we have Rex. So it looks like, basically, as we cast from the clean feed, we cast from the clean feed, and it looks like the clean feed did drop. Because it dropped, we missed the end of that game. Did miss the end of that game. The writing was on the wall, and Cyan was getting further and further ahead, and it looks like Cyan did win. Unfortunately, we missed out on the end of that game. Again, it is unfortunate. Like, it was a great game to be had. It was very back and forth, but as we were saying, like, as the game progressed, it was just bleaker and bleaker for Rex, and now we're getting into game number 2 instead. We're getting into game 2. Cyan takes a lead in the series, and Rex, he's going for the gold. He's rushing into the gold base in game number 2. Again, I apologize, but there's nothing we can do in regards to seeing the end of that game. We don't have access to the replays. We are only casting from the clean feed. Sometimes the clean feed is not so clean. It's a little bit dirty sometimes. It's a little bit dirty sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay. We like it dirty. Oh no. Shaky my head. But hopefully the rest of the broadcast is, stable. Hopefully the rest of the broadcast is stable. As we do see Rex mainarding over, going to be saturating that gold. Now, typically, if we're rushing into the gold base here, it's on the Protoss to punish. The onus is now on Cyan to be aggressive and to punish this base, to punish that gold. But now Cyan going for a gate expand into Cybercore, standard opener from our Protoss player. Standard opener for the time being. As it's going to be a Robo for our tech of choice. Okay, not a Stargate, not a Twilight Council, but a Robo. Now, with a Robo-based opener, this, I think, is going to be Disruptors. It would make sense if this was going to be a disruptor drop. The other thing that this could be, a build that has been permeating and rising from the ashes after a long hiatus, is an immortal based all-in. Is an immortal slow lot all-in or a Soul Train-esque all-in as well. These all-ins have been popping up a lot as of late. I'm not sure why, but over the past month, we've seen a lot of Pro Toss players in Korea and in Southeast Asia embrace them. So it's just been trendy as of late. War Prisoners in production, show us the bay. Do we throw down the bay or do we throw down more gateways? More gates are on the way. This is not disruptors. Interesting. This is not disruptors. Yeah, 3 gates in total. I think this is the slow lot all in, right? So this should be for immortals and slow lots, or we can commit into more sentries and immortals. Regardless, it's going to be a 2 base all in. So 4 gateways, 2 base all in, Forge is on the way. Yeah, this is all coming together. Meanwhile, back at home, Rexy threw down an early Roach Warren. I believe that was around a 3-minute 50 or 3:45 Roach Warren timing. So very early on, very defensive. Immortal production has commenced, as we did mention. Immortals are on the way, so it is going to be, as we mentioned, regardless of whether it's going to be slow lots or charge lots, or even a Soul Train escort in, like, it's going to be immortal based. And immortals are coming. Well, the Observer runs into the Spore. And that's odd. That's a Twilight Council. Huh. That I was not expecting. This is turning into like a bit of a Frankenstein of a build. There's like a little bit of everything here from Cyan. With the Twilight Council, are we crazy enough to go into DTs? Is that where we're headed, or do we just go for like delayed blink or delayed charge? Which would be wild. There it is, charge. Okay. So 2 more gateways in charge. Is that the 5th and 6th gateway? Yep, there we go. We have additional gateways on the way. I believe we're going up to 6 gates in total. No, my apologies. I believe that is 8 gates in total. Jesus. So it's going to be a 2 base 8 gate all in with +1 in charge. Well, +1 charge and immortals. Okay. Now, again, Rex did throw down early tech, but as we can see, he did not need it this early on. So this is inefficient out of Rex. Did invest quite heavily into this Ling Roach, and he's getting ready for his own all-in. So, what happens when 2 players all-in each other? We're about to find out. Oh boy. As Rex again, still amassing more Ling Roach Ravager. Creep is spreading, denying that 3rd base. Who do I want to favor here? I think it depends on the Ravagers. How many Ravagers will Rex have? Because right now he's mainly Ling Roach. Ravagers will help out a lot. There we go. Sentries are coming in. Immortal charge lots. The train is coming. Overseer does confirm the gate count. That's a lot of gateways. Now we're pushing. Now we are all in. Rex, he throws down a Balian Nest, but it might be too little too late. The Balian Nest would have been ideal against this. Adepts shade in. Down with the army. Yeah, that's going to be, what, 5 sentries? Soon to be 7 sentries, by the way. It's going to be a lot of force fields. And we catch a Ravager. We spoke about it earlier. I was concerned about how few Ravagers there were. I think there's only 1. I'm getting deja vu. I've seen this before. But Lings, they get across the map. And we force a recall. Big moment here. Recall is forced. We get a kill on the goal base. But because of the recall, Rex is holding. Despite no Balians, despite no Ravagers, Rexy is holding on. Forces back the army. Forced to expand elsewhere. Lings are trying to buy some time. Rex will have to back off. Roach speed is on the way. Should take another backup 3rd. Should be looking to take another base. As Cyan has yet to expand as well. He's reprobing, moving out. We're taking down that Overlord. He can now take his own 3rd as well. He's lying in wait. Yeah, we can see Cyan working on +2. He's setting up for a longer game. Ooh, supply blocking Rex. That's a big supply block. The Overlord just started. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, 2 Overlords on the way. Well, we have a pretty hefty Baneling count now. Like, that's a lot of Banelings. Chargelots, they cannot push into that. Not anymore. Rex is down in workers. Third base is now being taken. The onus is now on Rex to push out. Rex, he did not rebuild his third, by the way. He chose not to. Rex, he's all in. It's all or nothing for Rex. Cyan, can he hold? How good of the force field's going to be? Again, I'm concerned because of... It's still only one Ravager. Like, force field's going to be king. We have one Bile. How do we push in? Zealots get across the map. Wreaking a little bit of havoc. Yeah, Rex, he does turn back for a moment. Does morph in 2 more Ravagers, so it's going to be 3 Ravagers in total. It's better than before. But even then, 3 Ravagers, that's not a lot to work with. Shows the force fields. Bailey's from behind. Good force fields here from Cyan. Bile's going to be thrown down. The Baileys are shut down. We do get some decent connections on the Zealots at least. The Zealots are cleaned up. But again, the force fields, the positioning here a little bit too good. We have the overcharge as well, and Rex, he's running out of steam. Yeah, you saw him shake his head on cams there, or at least lean back. Not a good position for Rex. Yeah, Cyan going for the warp in into the main base. Rex being forced all the way back home. Now, best case scenario here for Rex, as we have to avoid a fight. This is not the place. Oh, brutal force fields. But I was going to say that, okay, so Rex, his hope here is maybe for Cyan to be too greedy. If Cyan, if he probes up too much, if he double expands, then maybe Rex can catch him off guard. Once again, force fields throwing down the Archons. They tank the Banelings. 1 Archon falls. Yeah, we're reinforcing. Cyan, he's not backing off. He's not slowing down. And Rex is in trouble. He is in a lot of trouble here. Again, it was a wild series, and game 1 was so close as well. Like, Rex was popping off. He was doing so well with his push, sniping bases, getting into mineral lines. But here, GG gets called. Cyan looking much more comfortable, and he will take the series 2-0. We'll start things off with a 2-0 lead for Mystery Gaming. GG. GG, well played. A solid start here for Mystery Gaming. A rough start there for Offside and for Rex. Again, game 1 was so close. Game 1 was so close. Rex, he was like on the brink of breaking Cyan so many times. Here in game number 2 was a little more chaotic, and Cyan, he was the one dictating the pace of the game instead. Rex had a hard time keeping up, and in the end, Rex just... It did feel like he was one step behind. The Ling run-by was solid. If you remember, the Ling run-by that forced the recall, that did keep Rex in the game. But I was expecting Rex to expand. If you remember, after that recall, Rex, he never expanded. He stayed on 2 bases. He forced himself all in. And with that, that's our first matchup in the books. And now we're getting ready for our second match of the series. Firefly versus Strange. Here we go. Firefly vs. Strange is going to be a PvP, which I do appreciate. Strange, on the flip side, has also kind of been under the radar, but here we go. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have Firefly for Offside. And in the top left, we have Strange for Mystery Gaming. Let's go. But yeah, it feels like Strange has been under the radar of a lot of people, but when it comes to like the European Protoss scene, I do rate Strange quite highly there. I mean, I think I would place him maybe slightly below Geralt and Christiana. I think I would place them above Strange, but just under them. I think that's where I would put Strange, I think. It's hard to say because there's a lot of European Protoss players, like a lot. Like this, it's a sea of Protoss there. But yeah, I think I would place Strange just below them, which is still quite impressive. And he has been able to have his own moments in WTL as well. And here we go. We do have Firefly opening up double gas. Okay. We have a 2-gate opener here from Strange. Should be 2-gate opener from Firefly as well. My eyes are on him because I still don't see a second gateway. Are we going double gas into a gate expand? Firefly. Let's go. Gateway is done. We're going for the Cyber Core. Okay, so it's going to be a gate, Cyber, into Stargate, into expansion. So Firefly is going for an economic opener. Firefly is being greedy, is being economic. Basically, this is the Max Packs build. The Max Packs opener is being whipped out by Firefly. We saw it a lot from Cristiano earlier today. Cristiano. Meanwhile, Strange is playing standard, going 2-gate. So it's going to be on Strange to punish Firefly. It's going to be on Strange to try to punish him. It's either we catch up economically or Strange is forced into an all-in. One or the other. And there we go. The Nexus has been thrown down. Ooh, that was Nexus before Stargate, by the way. A little bit greedy there from Firefly. Okay. Now, there should still be a Stargate as the follow-up. And there's the pylon. We spoke about it, how Firefly was going for the Max Packs opener, which means what reaction do we get out of Strange? The reaction is a 1 base all-in. Now, Firefly should be aware that this is a possibility. He hasn't confirmed yet, but I'm sure he is prepared to respond to that kind of scenario. And there it is. Proxy Robo here from Strange. Stalkers are moving out across the map as we speak. Firefly does not go for a Stargate. He's going for a gateway into Robo. Interesting. Now, with this Robo, defensive Robo, we're going to be seeing Immortal versus Immortal. Usually, Max Packs would have a much earlier Stargate, which leads to a much earlier Void Rays to be secure. So this is going to be a bit of a more dicey defense from Firefly. We're going to cut it close. Second shield battery gets thrown down. Sentries trading with the Stalkers. Again, Sentries have been buffed as of late. They do bonus damage to shield units. Bonus damage to shields. So they're able to pose a greater threat to these Stalkers. No longer do they have tickle beams in PvP. No longer. They can actually do damage. Meanwhile, Strange going for a Warp Prism first, not an Immortal. Interesting. With the Warp Prism, we can reinforce. We can also juggle back our units, basically defensive blink. We can also drop into the main. So a lot of flexibility here with the Prism first, followed by the Immortal. Prism is going to slip into the main base. Late reaction out of Firefly. Does spot this. Does have a little bit of time here to react. Shield battery is done. We do focus down one probe. One probe does fall. You can see Firefly diving on the Prism. Is bleeding out a lot of probes, though. That was 5 probes going down. Does strip away the shields of the Warp Prism, but that was worth it for Strange. It's good damage. Strange not losing anything, and he does even up the economy. Even take a lead in the economy as well. Meanwhile, the Immortal's about to pop out. We do throw down some force fields. We do catch some of these Adepts. Very nice. Ooh, but we lose one of the sentries. Oof. Was this worth it? Can we catch the sentries? And it looks like we do trade 2 for 2. Both players, they bleed out 2 sentries. We threaten to shade towards the natural. Strange elevatoring into the main. And we do have a shield battery in position. We can support this. We're going for the Prism. Big snipe. Prism goes down. We fall back to the shield battery, but we bleed out another Stalker. Firefly in a lot of trouble. Force the overcharge. We do have a second Immortal, and it looks like Firefly, he should barely be able to hold on. Does lose one Immortal, but he pulls back to the shield battery. We do defend. The Immortal survives. And there's no way out of here. There's no way out of the main base. Firefly, he traps Strange. Forced to recall. And again, there is no backup Warp Prism. We're going for the Immortal. It's so close to going down. One more volley and we do get it. The Immortal falls. We have one Immortal left on the way. The other, I believe, was recalled. It's racing on over from across the map. Firefly being very proactive here, very bold. Ooh. Almost gets the Immortal, getting very low. As Firefly does assert his dominance. That second Immortal has arrived. We focus down the first, though. We depower the robot, we depower the gateways. And say shade in, but we're ready for them. We're in position. And Firefly, he's in full control of this. He weathered the storm. Shut down the all-in. GG gets called, and Firefly takes game number 1. GG. Oh, solid game there. Out of Firefly, able to take that game, able to survive against the all-in. And again, because of his build, I'm sure he was expecting an all-in. He was, in a way, baiting the all-in out. Did bait it out in the end. Ooh, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Firefly fighting back for his team, fighting back for offside. Strange, it's his map of choice. Oh, and his map is Alcyone. Let's go. In the top right-hand corner, we have Strange. Oh, Firefly? In the top right, we have Strange for Mr. Gaming. In the bottom left, we have Firefly. They messed up the graphics a little bit there, but yeah, bottom left is Firefly, top right is Strange. Here we go. Now the question becomes, here on Alcyone, a much larger map, a much more macro map, do we go for another Max Packs opener? Do we go for another gate expand? Do we try to bait out an all-in for a second time? My eyes are on Firefly. On both players, really. We shall see. Probe is moving out across the map. Inside of Firefly. Has set up his gateway. So far, everything looking as it should. It does look like we're going for 2 gate openers across the board. Assuming we're about to throw down the second gateway. There it is. The second gateway gets thrown down for Firefly. And it gets thrown down for Strange. So 2 gate opener versus 2 gate opener. A much more standard setup here in this PvP. Which means suddenly, if Firefly wanted to, he could go all in as well. He could be the aggressor. Could be. You can see Strange moving out with his probe, looking to hide his pylon, I imagine. There it is. So he's going to be hiding his second pylon. This makes it look like he's committing to a proxy. And because of how large Alcyone is, because how large this map is, it's difficult for a player like Firefly to scout and confirm what's going on. Ooh, as he goes for the counter pylon in the main. Oh my god. Firefly reading or seeing Strange's build and calling his bluff. He knows that the pylon is missing, by the way, and he's like, mate, I didn't care. I'm just gonna whoop it in your base, in your face. Oh my god. Now we'll see if Strange checks. Hopefully he does, but we'll see. Again, Alcyone is a large map, likewise has a large main. Has a large base. Strange slipping in, getting a probe scout off, does confirm that the pylons are where they should be, at least the second pylon is. Second and third. Yeah, the army's moving out. The pylon is up and running. Once Warp Gate finishes, then we can warp in right into the heart of Strange's bases. Right into his main. And we can focus down probes. We're waiting for the adepts. That is what we were waiting for. Oh boy. And more time is passing, which means we have more time here for Strange to figure out what's going on, to come across it. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Strange. Both players expanding. Hallucination confirms that there's nothing really out of the norm. Likewise, Hallucination coming in from Firefly. We'll get eyes on the tech, I imagine. Yep, does confirm the Twilight Council. You can see that Firefly's own Twilight Council is a little bit delayed, but they're both on the way. They are merely seconds apart. Warp Gate is now done. Gateways are finishing up, and there it is. We're warping in 2 Adepts right into the main base of Strange. And Strange has no idea. And 2 Adepts, they one-shot workers. They one-shot probes. They are slipping in. Strange out of position. We get into the main base. Oh my god. Yeah, the boys, they have to be pulled. We get 2, 3, 4, 5 probes. We're gonna get 6. Are we gonna get 7? Oh my god, an insane amount of economic damage done here. 8, 9, 10. 10 probes go. We're gonna get 11. Not 12, but 11 probes go down. Well worth it here for Firefly. The pylon has been found. We can shut it down, but it is already paid for itself. It's more than paid for itself. Especially considering that it drags the entire army back home. Ay, ay, ay. And meanwhile, across the map, Blink is, again, on the way. We have the Robo in production as well for Firefly. Strange is now pushing, but he is... yeah, looking to recover. Wait. Are the... hold on. Who's who? I need to get a read on this. Because it says Firefly is red. But Strange, he likes going for the pylon. Yep, there it is. Yeah, they just switched. They just switched. As soon as I saw the worker count, I was like, hold up. This feels like the roles have been reversed. It feels like the supplies are not what they should be. That was Strange slipping into the main base of Firefly. There we go. They just changed the color. Shaking my head. They just changed the colors over. When I was looking at the UI, I was like, the numbers don't add up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we should be down in workers. So Firefly is forced all in. It was Strange killing all those workers with the pylon. Firefly going to be forced all in. He does commit across the map. Good force fields. Oh my god. Good force fields, but he does not have enough to break through. So basically, Firefly, he's the one who has to commit. He is expanding behind this. Third Nexus is on the way for Firefly. So winding it back, basically, the players had the wrong colors on them and they were in the wrong place, but now they have been switched over. Third base is being taken. Quickly taking stock here. Strange is ahead in workers. He did kill a lot. It's got a lot done here with that proxy pylon. Meanwhile, Firefly has to recover. Both players have Blink. Both players have similar timings with their forges. We have Strange going for the faster Immortal. Strange is ahead. Straight up. Strange is ahead, and he's looking to tie up this series. As a reminder, it's a best of 2, not a best of 3. Firefly was bamboozled. As soon as I saw the worker disparity, by the way, it clicked in my brain that not just that the players had switched, they're like, oh, Strange, he likes going for proxy pylons. like that's like a trait that he has as a player. Like it all just came flooding back. It's like I had a brain blast. But here we go. Third bases are on the way. Now, as we're settling into our 3-base setup here, the question becomes, do we stabilize? Strange, he's ahead, but he needs to make use of that. He needs to make use of his lead. If we're a little bit too passive, then Firefly will recover. And we're pushing. There we go. We have the Immortal lead. We have the Immortal advantage. Okay, it looks like we're only just fighting for control of the Zonaga. Behind this, we still have upgrades on the way. Doesn't make sense. Strange doesn't want to hit an anti-timing. But Strange has that much more complex army here with those Immortals. Firefly is stuck on purely a gateway army. Now, with Firefly only with Blink Stalkers and Charge Lots, he has a more mobile composition, and it's on Firefly to out-control and out-position his opponent's army. What I'm referring to is counterattacks, it's run-bys, being active on the map, forcing back Strange. We'll see what Firefly can do. Like, as we just saw there, we were able to pick up a couple of units, a sentry, a Stalker here and there. Did happen. Push in. Forcing Strange back. Meanwhile, Strange getting into another... Is that like a 5th Immortal? Jesus, that is so many Immortals. Okay, a 4th Immortal. Temple Archives on the way for Archon production. Is on the way. Now, Firefly is rushing into the gold. The gold is about to finish, and the gold is a good way to bounce back. The gold base will be a good way to just pay things off, to recover, to catch back up in the economy. But we need time for that to actually come into play. We need time for that gold base to mine. Until then, Strange does still maintain a massive army supply lead. And I feel like Strange doesn't have to wait that much longer. I feel like he doesn't have to wait. Maybe one more Immortal and then we can push. But for now, Strange is still staying in between his bases, waiting for his moment. Firefly threatening a counterattack. Shaking the right-hand side base. Does dip in. Gets a pylon. Gets 2 zealots. Gets out of there. Good pickoffs. The Firefly doesn't lose anything. And this is what he needs to do. You know, pick off a unit here and there. Building here or there. Blinking back in as Strange moves out. This is what we spoke about. How Firefly's army is more mobile. Gets High Templar. And probes. Very nicely done. And from here we can just blink away. Ooh, I say that. A bit of miscontrol. 2 Stalkers go down. Every Stalker counts. When you're behind, every unit matters. And here we go. Strange. He's been pinned back a little bit, but now he's pushing. And I'm not so certain that Firefly can stop this push. We have Immortals, we have Archons. That's 5 Immortals. Jesus. That's a lot of Immortals. Overcharges pop cells coming in from behind. Archons push forward. The Archon of Strange out of position. This is the best case scenario for Firefly. The overcharge coming in clutch here, putting in a lot of work, but it may still not be enough. The Immortals, they all survive. And the Immortals are going to town on these Stalkers. Yeah, so many Stalkers get targeted down. Reinforcements have arrived as well. And Strange, he overwhelms. Again, that was maybe the best fight that Firefly could have hoped for, and it still was not enough. With that massive Immortal lead, Strange, he's going to be able to take this. And GG gets called. Strange ties up the series 1-1 and extends the lead here of Mystery Gaming. GG. GG, well played. Phew, Strange. Cheeky with that pylon in the main base of Firefly, able to pop off, able to get so much damage done, able to snowball out of control, and with that, that led into his better economy. What did he spend it on? On the better army, faster robo, Immortal production, third base. It all just snowballed out of control, faster upgrades as well. And with that, the pressure is now on Ubu Thermal. Uthermal is coming up next versus Coffee. And I'm concerned because looking at these lineups, I felt like Rex versus Cyan and Firefly versus Strange would be close, or those are the best opportunities for offside to take leads. Here, Coffee's been looking very impressive. As of late, Coffee has been on fire. He's been looking damn scary, even contesting against Oliveira. This is not going to be easy for Uthermal. It's not going to be an easy series. As a reminder, Uthermal is a random player, and he's coming up next against Coffee. Oh boy. The pressure is on. Can Uthermal bounce back for himself and for his team? Now, a lot of this is going to come down to his race, as here we go. He's rolling random, and in the top right-hand corner, rolling Protoss. It is Uthermal for offside. And in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have for Mystery Gaming, Coffee. Here we go. Now again, Uthermal, he has been competing as random for the past year. Does compete as random, and the reality is that some of his races are stronger than others. His Zerg is his weakest, I would say. His Terran is his strongest, and his Protoss is in the middle. And usually whenever he rolls Protoss or Zerg, we usually see all-ins. It's usually very aggressive and all-in play, even with his Terran as well. Like, he's a very spicy player. It's very aggressive, very all-in, very cheesy. He can play macro. I think he usually plays macro and TVT. Like I think TVT is like where he settles into like a macro like mid game and late game. But we'll see how he approaches this matchup. Now, what's important here, especially because Euthermal was a Terran for so long, is that his versus Terran matchups are ideal. Like that's his best matchups when it comes to his off races, like PVT and ZVT. Like he knows what works and what doesn't. He has a good idea on what can be abusable as well. So this is a good opportunity for Euthermal to bounce back. I would have preferred his Terran against Coffee, but we'll settle for his Protoss. Meanwhile, behind this is going to be an economic opener from Coffee. Very economic opener going for a Rax expand. We have the bunker being thrown down in the mineral line. Euthermal trying to shut this down. Does have 2 probes, one on either side. And it looks like we should deny the bunker. SCV is going to go down, and the bunker is going to be cancelled. Now, the Reaper is still on the way, but alas, there's not going to be a bunker for it. Yeah, the bunker is cancelled. Reaper slips in. Good defense here by Euthermal. Very nice defense. As he gets, as Coffee gets 1 probe in the main base, going for a second. He wants a second, but he will not get it. The Stalker comes out just in time. We shut down the Stalker. Sorry, we shut down the Reaper as well. Good cleanup from Euthermal. Very nicely done. Only losing 1 probe, that could have been so much worse. And behind this, Euthermal going for a Twilight Council follow-up. Interesting. Now, with this Twilight Council, it should be Blink. But how many gateways? On a map like Ghost River, I would not be opposed to at least 3, maybe 4 gates. I feel like 2-gate Blink is too risky on this map. It sounds crazy, but we'll see what Euthermal embraces. But now, 2nd gateway is on the way. So for now, it is 2-gate Blink. And there it is. There's the 3rd gateway on the way. So 3-gate Blink from Euthermal. And we could go up to 4. As I mentioned before, I'm happy with 3 gateways, but we could go up to 4 here just to double down. Just 3-gate Blink into a 3rd. We haven't thrown down a Robo, by the way. So without a Robo, I imagine we're going to be expanding. Imagine this is going to lead into a 3rd. Here we go. As for now, Hellion is going to be forced back. We're setting up into our 2-1-1. Or even 3-1-1 setup. That does shade in. We get a full scout of the main base. We get a full read on the build. Ravens are on the way. Tank production has commenced. Getting into our 2-1-1 setup. And Euthermal, again, he should be expanding. There it is. That 3rd Nexus is thrown down. As we mentioned, there was no Robo. There was no 4th gateway. No way to really be assertive on the map. Just very defensive here from Euthermal. Just playing safe. So is just going to play it safe here. Behind this, now we get the Robo on the way. Coffee's still building up. Stalkers are finally going to be poking across the map, but we take a tank shot to the face. Good tank positioning from Coffee. Gets a volley up. Maintaining his position. 3rd Rax is in production for Coffee. Stim is on the way, and we should soon be pushing with that Stim, with those tanks. Now, whether or not Coffee goes for a 2-base all-in, that's going to be the next big question. I'm not feeling a 2-base all-in just because of the build, just because we didn't prioritize the Raxes and we did prioritize the Starport instead. On the flip side, that Raven is gathering energy. It's gathering energy to harass. Never mind. The Raven is skirting around the northern portion of the map. It's skirting around the edge, and it's going straight for the natural base, going for some auto-turret harass instead. Stalkers are in position. Good blink here from Euthermal. We chase down the Raven. But we do bleed out a Stalker and a Probe. good trade for Euthermal. Like, a Raven is worth so much more than just one probe and one stalker. So good defense here from Euthermal. Third CC's on the way. Yeah, as we mentioned, when it comes to the build order of Coffee, it doesn't really lend to a 2-base all-in. So third CC's on the way. So Coffee is taking the slope. Slow and steady from Coffee. Is going to break out, is going to expand. And Euthermal behind this is getting into Colossi. So far it's been pretty passive. I mean, I say pretty passive. Like, Euthermal's build was very defensive, but Coffee wasn't being aggressive. That's what's important here. So because of that, Euthermal wasn't as greedy as he could have been. Does have the probe lead. Tanks are getting in position. Trying to at least. The Colossus has arrived. Good splits against the line. Very nicely done there by Euthermal. Tank volleys are going up. Coffee applying a lot of pressure here to the third. The tank is getting low though. And we're going to try and focus that. We get one tank. Oh, but we're running out of stalkers. We dive on the Colossi. The Colossus goes down. And Euthermal looks like he does not have enough to defend. No shield battery, no overcharge. Ay. GG gets called, and Coffee, as he breaks out, as he expands and takes the third base, he shuts Euthermal down. GG, well played. And with that, Coffee will take the win here, and he will win this series for Mystery Gaming. GG, well played. Again, some rough earlier games there, earlier maps for Offside did make things a little bit awkward, kind of getting our footing, especially with the Rex series. Like, Rex game number 1, I'm still thinking about it. I still think about it even now. Rex game 1 versus Sign, was so close. Alas, with that win, I believe Coffee is going to be securing the win for his team, but we will still play out game 2. And game 2 is going to be on Amphion. Here we go. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Euthermal for Offside. And in the top left, we have his opponent Coffee for Mystery Gaming. Here we go. Yeah, Mystery Gaming, they will take it in the end. And Euthermal, he rolls Protoss, and he rolls as random, and he rolls Protoss once again. Here we go. Problem is that Coffee is very well versed against Protoss. Protoss is the dominant race in his region. Yes, it's Coffee and Oliveira is the reigning world champion, but there's players like Maxa, Jeshi, Cyan, Firefly, Nice, Haas. There's so much Protoss presence in the Asia region, and Coffee has been refining his TVP quite well over the past couple of years. Here we go. We do have Coffee lamenting. He's like, oh, it's same race. Smurge, Papi Smurge. TVP to Imba, Papi. True. Euthermal complimenting Coffee. Feels good, man. Feels good. No malice between the players. The camaraderie. Now, Coffee's going for another economic build. He's going for a Rax Expand. Yep, economic opener here out of Coffee. Euthermal is going for a Gate Expand into Cybercore as well. So everything looking normal. Is Euthermal off racing? No, he's random, so he's main racing, I guess. Euthermal's main race is random nowadays. But here we go. Reaper is moving out, getting in between the bases. Going to be getting a scout off, gets into the mineral line, and we do get one probe kill. One probe goes down. Can we get another? Uh-oh. Euthermal needs to wait a little bit longer for his Reaper, for his Adept to come out. And a second probe will fall. Adept has arrived. We can finally shut this down. But not before losing 2 workers. As one more shot, is all we need. Uno más. We should be able to complete the shade, but we do get up the ramp. Coffee lives. He's going for another probe. Can he get it? So much lost mine time, by the way. So much lost mine time in the main base. The Reaper does survive, does regenerate its HP. The Adept still chasing him down, and Coffee will finally get out. And will actually get out as well. Aye. Rough defense there from Euthermal. Again, in game 1, he was looking impressive in the early game. Here in game 2, rougher start. Dead Workers, lost mining time, the Escaped Reaper. Now, looking at our tech of choice, we're going for a Stargate opener this time, so not going to be Blink, it's going to be Oracles. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like we're not investing into Phoenixes. It's going to be Oracle into either Charge or Blink as the follow-up. Oracle's moving out. But Kofi's playing safe. He has a Cyclone on the way. Marines should be in position as we slip into the mineral line. Show us the mineral line! Copy. Reaper does scouts. Show us the main. As we maybe get one SCV. Yeah, it looks like one SCV went down. Only one. Cyclone does get here just in time. And Kofi does defend. Kofi does end up defending. Meanwhile, we have the drop across the map. I mean, we had the revelation, so we did see it coming ahead of time. Good control out of Kofi. We do have the Oracle getting into the natural. One SCV goes down, but the Cyclone's in position. As we start to step forward, we take down the Adepts, and Firms are going down. GG gets called just like that as Kofi snowballs out of control. We barely even get to get into the game itself. Kofi just picking Euthermal apart left and right with a handful of units. Bearing in mind as well that Euthermal, he had a revelation on the medevac. He saw the push coming. But it wasn't just the push, it was also, I believe, Euthermal lost his Oracle across the map as well. Did fall to the Cyclone. And again, Kofi showing why he is the ace player of Mystery Gaming and why he was favored coming into this. GG. GG, well played. A solid performance there from Kofi. And with that, Mystery Gaming will take it 5-1. GG, well played. Up next, we have our next match. It's going to be Platinum R8, or Platinum Heroes / R8 Esports versus Twisted Fairy. Oh boy. We're going to be going on a very short break. Very short, because I'm going to be speeding through this. And we will be jumping into our next Best of Series. See you soon. Huh.
爆笑的节奏和评论，关注 SC Boy 官方公众号，365天每天更新，让你与20万猛男一起更便捷的享受我和黄哥给大家带来的快乐，不要告诉别人哟。
Are even because neither player has competed. Oh, I'll get into it. I'll get into it as we get into the game. And here we go in the top right hand corner. We have Young Yakov for Platinum R8. And in the bottom left, we have a Classic for Twisted Fairy. Okay, so for Platinum Heroes, they picked up in the lead up to WTL, they picked up a massive amount of players. They picked up Snockstar, they picked up not just Snockstar, where are the pickups? The hell? What's going on? They picked up Snockstar, they picked up Young Yakov, they picked up Nikic, they picked up Nicaract as well. Yeah, they really did. They picked up 4 Jumi, of course another one. They got a lot of players this past month, essentially. They picked up Art, apparently joining. Wait, no, Art was last year. Yeah. It was kind of loaned to Platinum Esports, that's it. So, yeah, they have since bolstered their team, and because of that, Platinum Platinum R8 are going to be much more competitive than they were in the last season. They also lost some players, though, as well. Bear that in mind. They lost Baby Marine. They lost DNS. They lost the Koreans. They lost 3-Point and Stephen Curry. True. They lost Firefly. There were a lot of trades. There were a lot of trades that were going on. But now we're settling into our ZVP. And Young Yakov, he is one of the newer players here. The newer picker, that's it. That's the word I was looking for. One of the newer signups from Platinum Heroes. And we'll see how well he can perform. Again, I feel like there was a lot of hype around Young Yakov like 2 years ago. During the COVID era of StarCraft, I feel like there was a lot of hype around him. And I feel like it was Young Yakov and Soul Spirit. For those of you that remember Soul Spirit as well, there was a lot of hype around the two of them as they were two like young up and comers in the European region. It's a little bit upsetting now that I think about it, because I feel like both Young Yakov and Soul Spirit, they rose at around the same time. And Soul Spirit, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he ever announced his retirement. He just faded away. He just stopped competing suddenly, like a year ago. So yeah, a little bit sad that we have since lost him, despite his performance as well. He had a killer series. I remember we were casting DreamHack. We were casting the B stream for DreamHack, and we got Raynor versus Soul Spirit because the mainstream, they wanted a different series, and we got lucky because Soul Spirit, he popped off and he caused a massive upset. He beat Raynor. It was crazy. He popped off. No one was expecting that. So yeah, he had some good moments definitely in his career, despite how short it was. Keen the unretirable, true. Commander Keen. Never really got. As you see, Classic going for a standard opener, going for a gate expand into a Stargate. Meanwhile, Young Yakov back at home, getting into his hatch gas pool into a third. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. He is easing his way in. Adept's going to be threatening a shade. Do have an early Evo chamber by Young Yakov. Very interesting, very peculiar. My eyes are on our Zerg player here. Looks like we could just rush into +1 melee. You don't see these early Evo chambers as often anymore. Used to be a little bit more meta as the wall is not a wall. Classic doing his best hero impression. Lings, they do get in. They do get a surround on the Adept. The Adept goes down. And we do slip into the main. We force the Oracles back. We force them to waste their energy as well. Very nice start here from Young Yakov. The Lings will be shut down, but again, we did get a lot of value with this. Wasting energy, forcing the Oracles back home, getting the Adept, getting a full scout of the main. And there's that +1 melee. Ooh, and an early Baneless as well. Okay. My eyes are on the drone counts. Do we drone from here? We're cutting workers at 33. That's a very low drone count for Young Yakov. And do we drone up anymore? Again, the natural isn't even fully saturated. More Lings on the way. Baneless is halfway done. Yeah, we're going for it all in. It's a Bane bust. It's a Ling Bane bust here from Young Yakov. He is all in. And Classic caught across the map. He has to race back home. Ooh, this Oracle going ham though. And that's a shade into the third base. Drones are going down. Now what's scary here, yes, we are killing workers, but the reality is that Young Yakov doesn't care. Not anymore. He's completely all in. One way or the other, the game will end. Either Young Yakov kills Classic or he dies trying. Let's go. Baneless is done. Lings, once again, they hit that natural. Oracles are in position. Where are the Banelings? The Banelings have not been built yet. They've not been morphed in. Young Yakov forced back. Queens are waddling across the map as well. Again, it's all or nothing. That's going to be 7 Banelings on the way, and now Classic knows what's happening. We have 4 shield batteries. We have cannons in production as well. The Queens have been spotted. Classic is aware, but knowing is half the battle. Can he defend? Can he hold? That's a lot of sentries. That's a lot of force fields. We're droning on the left-hand side. Oh my god, that's so smart. I love it. Young Yakov. He's avoiding the shield batteries. The Queens are a distraction. We flood into the natural as well. The brain, it's so big. We flood in from behind. Bust into the natural. Bailey's are wobbling in as well. And Classic is out of position. Oh my god. The reaction shots. And young Yakov, he busts on through. 16 probes go down. We bust into the main base. Bailey's are wobbling in. The Baileys are on the way towards that mineral line. Probes are going down. 30 probes fall. The Queens are holding their own as well. We depower those gateways. Now, what's scary here? This is some good damage, but Classic still has a comparable worker count. He's got 22 probes to 29 drones of young Yakov. And Classic has an army. Classic has an army. He can counterattack, but we have a lot of Lings with +1 attack. Classic is stuck at home. And young Yakov is droning. He did make a wave of drones. Lings, they try to slip in. But you can see here, young Yakov continuing to drone up behind this. He is macroing. Young Yakov is transitioning. And Classic has a lot of catching up to do. He still has his oracles. Impressive. The oracles did survive. Moving out across the map, we did reset the queen count. True. We bust into the mineral line. Drones are going down. 3 drones. Good damage. Lings are spotted. We're going to be able to chase them down. Stalkers are in position. Stalkers are in position. But again, that was such a smart play here from young Yakov. And this is what I love out of WTL. I mentioned before that you do know the map and your opponent ahead of time, at least by a couple of days. So you have some time to practice, to prepare, to study your opponent as well. Preparation is, again, rewarded in WTL. And that was an all-in that I have yet to have seen. I mean, I haven't been watching much of the regionals, the EPT Spring regionals, so it's very possible that maybe it was showcased there. If it was, you can let us know. I've been unfortunately unable to watch most of it. The only regional stuff that I've been able to see is the Eric matches. The Eric games from EPT Americas, and Dolan, of course, as well. Eric and Dolan. Outside of that, I haven't been able to tune in because we're usually casting. We're usually casting. Like right now, for example. As here we go. Classic is pushing on through. Good force fields here on the Queens. We do shut them down. Again, there's no Ravagers. Force fields, they are king. Bailings are on the way. They're just about to finish. Bailings are just about to finish. Do we have a force field? We do. We do wall off the ramp. Sold force field at a Classic, and despite the damage that he took, the counter offensive is just too good. The Ling Bane is melting, and Classic, again, we needed to kill him. We needed to kill him then and there with the all-in, and we didn't. Classic survived, and now Classic is snowballing out of control. He shuts down the Lings, he shuts down the Queens. GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Classic showing he's of the level, of the caliber of... And now it's going to be young Yakov's map of choice, and we have our map. Game 2 will be on Ghost River. Here we go. Ghost River is coming up next. Is the shortest rush distance map in the map pool, known for aggression. And here we go in the top right hand corner. We have young Yakov for Platinum R8. And in the top left, we have Classic for Twisted Fairy. I was about to say Classic's face, literally like, ah. The O face, man. The O face. I mean, despite that, still strong. Impressive, Fabi, impressive. Whew. As from here, we are going to be settling into our game. As a reminder, as we did just mention, this map is known for aggression, known for all-ins. If young Yakov wanted to be in the face of his opponent, it would make sense to bring out Ghost River. This was young Yakov's map of choice. So if I were Classic, I'd be a little bit uneasy coming into Ghost River. Interesting. It's going to be 15-15. Okay. Very safe opener out of young Yakov, actually. It's a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. What this means is faster queens, is we do have a little bit faster access to lings as well. It will keep us safe and sound early on. It allows us to expand on location. That's probably the biggest thing about this, actually. We have seen, actually, time and time again, if a Protoss gets across the map very quickly, if they deny the natural base, it can be so brutal trying to expand and trying to fight back, and even taking the third base, it can be denied as well. Things can get very chaotic very quickly. So 15-15s make a lot of sense. Does make a lot of sense here for Young Yakov. Hatchery gets up. We have 8 Lings on the way. Ooh, that's a lot of Lings. We're doubling down. We're flooding. 10 Lings across the map. We are committed. And the goal here is to kill the pylon. Lings have been spotted. Classic. If he underreacts, he's going to be in some trouble. There's no Zealot. There's no Zealot in production. The gateway is done, but we are not respecting these Lings. We did spot some of them as they came out. And because the rush distance is so short, these Lings, they get there that much faster. We're going for the pylon. Classic, he needs to wall off. Ooh, barely does. Lings, they get some good surface area. They go for the gateway. They dive on the gateway. The Adept is going to come out. Does come out in time, but the gateway will fall. Yeah, we have to throw down a secondary wall behind this. Gateway is going to get cleaned up. And a good amount of damage dealt there by Young Yakov. He kills a gateway, forces a cancel on another gateway, forces it to be rebuilt. Shield batteries on the way. The wall! The wall is not a wall either. The Adept gets surrounded. Shield battery finishes up 1 second too late. What? The WTL production team, they really want to see the reaction shot from Classic. Oh my god. We've had some moments like this before. As in, like, moments where players are in some trouble and they're getting caught out. But this entire season, it's been 3 days. This is the first time we're going for reaction shots. The only other time was Oliveira. The only other time was the WTL, the production team, they zoomed in on Oliveira's face a couple of days ago. That was the only other player. SC boy, they've got it out for Classic. Oh my god. Like, show the face, fam. Show the face. Show him. Is he crying? My god. S the SC boy. Here we go. I mean, they're having fun. They're having fun. It's just interesting that that so far it's only been Oliveira and Classic that they've done it to. Now they always do it to Oliveira. It's like tough love that they have with Oliveira, because Oliveira is like of course the best player in all of China, and SC Boy they're a Chinese team and they're close with Oliveira. They always meme with Oliveira and they always point stuff like that out. So I was caught off guard by the zoom-ins on Classic of all players. I don't know if they have some history with Classic as well, but they always like joking and poking fun at Oliveira whenever they can. And here we go. We do have the Oracle getting to main base. 4, 5, 6. Oh, no Spore in the main. No Spore in the main base. This is too much. 7 drone kills for the first Oracle. This should not have happened. This should not have happened. Young Yakov in shambles in the follow-up. 7 drones go down. And this was a standard Oracle timing as well. That's what's shocking. I mean, again, followed by the Void Ray, of course, but Young Yakov caught with his pants down. Behind this, we have Glaive Adepts on the way. Young Yakov, can he recover, though? As Young Yakov, he's stuck droning. You know what I would have, if I was handling the production team as all those drones were being killed, I would have done a reaction shot on Young Yakov. Obviously, there's no webcam, but that would have made it better. I would have had a reaction shot on the still shot of Young Yakov for that. just to make things fair. S the SC boy. Shaking my head. As, yeah, with that Classic, he is following this up with Glaives. We are amassing Adepts as we speak. Now, as a reminder, this variation of Glaive Adepts is no Robo. From my understanding, there is... Oh, sorry, there's no Prism, or is there a Prism on the way? There is a Robo. Observer's on the way. Okay, yeah, no Prism. No War Prism, so we can't reinforce on the front lines. We can't dive into the main either. What you see is what you get when it comes to Adepts. At the same time, though, you don't really need the Prism because of how short the rush distance is by ground. Yeah, Adepts, they cancel the Shades, stay strapped into the main base. Drones are being targeted down. Lings, they do collapse in. Big stasis into the main. And we target down 7 more drones. We shade into the natural. Can we get more? We get 8. Can we get 9? Not quite. 8 drone kills. Stasis into the main. More Adepts rock up here at the 3rd. And Young Yakov is having a hard time keeping up. Good positioning with the Queen. Oh, can we get the Oracle? We barely do not. Oracle lives. Behind this, Immortal Production, Sentries as well. We're ready for a counterattack. Where is the shield battery, though? Very nice force fields. Oh my god, we're able to force those things away. We slid our sentries to safety. That was smooth. Very smooth force fields. And Young Yakov, he's committing. We have a Baneling Nest on the way. We're amassing Lings as we speak. I'm curious if we're cutting drones here. We've got a 4th. Never mind. Young Yakov, he throws down a 4th hatchery. He's thinking about droning. And he is. Let's go. Okay, Young Yakov, he's trying to recover. Classic is ahead. Classic is ahead in the economy. He's ahead in the drone counts, in the worker counts. Immortals are amassing. Temple Archives is on the way for Archon production as well. There's a lot of pressure right now on Young Yakov to bounce back and to fight back. Meanwhile, Young Yakov unshaken on cam. True. Unshaken, unwavering. Let's go. As the Oracle is moving out, rotating towards the north. Relation going to be going off as well, just trying to get a read on what Young Yakov is up to. As Classic is going to be expanding, not going all in. We do have a Spire on the way. Let's go. Where is it exactly? Not in the natural, the main. Oh, there it is. Further back in the main base, has not been scattered, not yet. And mutas are a good way to bounce back. I would say though that it feels like the Spire is a little bit late. What I mean by that is that I feel like Classic should be pushing before the Spire comes into play. Force fields are forced out. We do get a sentry. Good pickup. Sentry gets caught. The storm is about to finish. Banelings are on the way. A bold place to morph in. Remember, storm is done. The army is spotted. And Classic is getting ready. Adepts ain't shaded across the map. Files will be dodged. Get good movement from Classic. He's forcing this back. Queens are waddling in. And this is a really good way to just be in the face of Classic while we tech up into Spire. We tech up and get ready for that Muta switch. As Young Yakov is being as active as he can. Rotating over once again. Force fields are thrown down. Big storm here on the Roaches and Ravagers. A nice hold position micro. Very nicely done there by Young Yakov. Preparing for his assault. Spire is done, but we are spending all of our gas on Ling Bane, by the way. And we're committed to Ling Bane. Forget about the Spire. Forget about the mutas for now. Maybe they crash in. Oh, the Zealots are going to be taken out. Decent connections there. But we maintain the High Templar. We maintain our storms. Oh, massive storm on the army. Oh my god. As Young Yakov does sit in the storm. Yeah, and with that, Classic, he will take the fight. That first storm was just juicy enough. And now he's just forcing Young Yakov back. And now he's up against the wall. Ravagers are falling. We run out of Banelings. Looks like Classic doesn't have enough to keep pushing. As the aggression ends, now we go into mutas. But that was a lot of supply thrown away. Now, thankfully for Young Yakov, there's only one Archon. There's one Stalker. There's just not a lot of anti-air. Mass Muta, or even a small hit squad of mutas, could do quite well here. Got some side defense. As a reminder, Classic has not scouted this. Classic is not aware. Baneling run by just threatened the southern base. Those mutas are headed towards the natural. No side defense, by the way. We did have a warp in, though. Yeah, we do respond here with some stalkers. A bit of a slow warp in, though, from some of them. Ooh, at the same time, Bailey's to get into that southern base. Yeah, 18 probes go down, 19, 20 probes fall. Classic. This worker count plummeting. Oh, as we get more than that, 25, 26 workers. Again, the power of a muta switch. The Spire was completely unscouted, and Classic completely unprepared for these mutas. They didn't kill 30 probes themselves, but they did distract Classic long enough for the bathing runby to slip in. And with that, 30 probes go down, and young Yakov, can we fight back? Can we tie up the series? It's pushing in towards the south. Ooh, does take a stasis to the face. Storms are coming in. Okay, Immortal's coming in from behind as well, collapsing on the Roach Ravager. Oh, really awkward position here for young Yakov. He's gonna bleed out a lot of roaches. That was not a good fight for the Zerg. Meanwhile, mutas, they come in. Blink is still on the way. That's a lot of stalkers. Finally, mutas are going down. Mutas are falling. And Classic is bouncing back. Even though Classic still is behind in the worker count and he lost a lot of probes, he's still recovering. He was able to just out-trade his opponent. Did out-trade young Yakov. Just had a better fight. Young Yakov still stuck on Lingbane Roach Ravager, bearing in mind there's no Lurker switch or Hydras, or the Hive is just now starting or just now finishing. As Blink is done. And both players have maxed out. Now, because Classic's worker count is low, he has a larger army. He has a very large army here. Mutas are coming in. Young Yakov ready for a dual-pronged attack. Mutas are being cleaned up, and now Classic can focus on the main push. You can focus on the main army, and hopefully we can as well. Show us the main army! Oh, as it looks like a couple of storms did connect, we bleed out a lot of Lingbane. More Banelings are on the way. Yakov, he is coming in, but this army, it's so lackluster for young Yakov. It's so fragile. It's pure Baneling and a handful of Ravagers and Roaches. It's not good enough. Yeah, Yakov is being chased back. And again, even though on paper here the supplies are close, the composition is just superior for Classic. The soup does lie. They're going for the surround. Oh, big storms on the Banelings. Massive storms are thrown down. The Immortals, they stand strong, and Classic is snowballing out of control. He's breaking through. Young Yakov has almost nothing left. Some vials being thrown down. A line of vials. But GG gets called as Classic snowballs out of control, and Classic takes the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Once again, 2 games in a row, despite young Yakov having moments, right? Young Yakov, he had some good moments in this series, in both game 1 and game 2, where he was able to catch Classic off guard. But it just goes to show how good Classic is. Again, Classic, he is one of the best Protoss in the world. He's top 2 in Korea, arguably top 3 in the world, or even top 2. Again, it is not just Platinum Heroes, it's Platinum Heroes R8. Because of that, Kelzer, he has joined the ranks of Platinum Heroes conditionally. And arguably is the ace player. Ah, there he is. Ah, the yellow. Now, Kelzer, he has competed in WTL before. He competed for Team Liquid. Did compete for Team Liquid. Moku coming out being featured for the first time. Moku, aka Takanashi, aka, he's got another name. It's Moku Takanashi. He's got like 2 or 3 more names as well. He's got a lot of IDs out there. We have casted Moku many times in our tournaments, in Grand Platypus Open, in Sparkling Tuna Cup. Moku is a solid player here. If I'm not mistaken, fun fact, Moku usually does observe for WTL as well. And here we go in the bottom right hand corner. We have Kelzer for Platinum R8. And in the top left, we have Moku for Twisted Fairy. Let's go. Let us go. But yeah, last season, Moku was the observer of WTL. Fun fact. He was the observer. I'm pretty sure he still does observe this season, but specifically tonight, he, of course, is competing, is playing, and won't be able to observe. Unfortunately, he won't be able to observe, but we can, of course, showcase his play here tonight. Just catching up. And we'll see how this all does turn out. I will favor Kelazur coming into this series, I'll be honest. Just because Moku has been spending a lot less time practicing and a lot more time observing. There are benefits to that, definitely. He has, of course, had a closer, or been forced to have a closer look here at some of these other top players in the league, in the world. And, of course, absorb a lot of that knowledge as well. But we'll see. We'll see how Kelazur does approach this. Kelazur can be a very creative player as well. We've seen Kelazur whip out a lot of mech in TVZ. He's not afraid to mech it up if need be, to proxy, to be very aggressive even bio-wise as well. Usually, Kelazur, he thrives in the mid-game. In the mid-game, towards that late game as well. We'll see. For now, Rax Expand. Rax Expand from Kelazur. It's going to be a Hatch Gas Pool out of Moku. Standard builds so far. Standard builds for the time being. I don't expect too much craziness in game 1 from Kelazur, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on whether he goes for a third CC after that factory, or if he goes into a 1-1-1. Reaper does get across the map, going to be dancing with the units of Moku. Gas is forced out. Queen has arrived, and we should force this back. We get one drone kill. Ooh, big pick off there already. One drone goes down. Good start for Kelazur. That should not have happened. Meanwhile, behind this is a third CC before starport. It is going to be an economic build from Kelazur. It is going to be economic. Reaper dips in. Oh! Reaper does dip into the main. Is forced out. We do keep it alive, keeping tabs here on the third base. Following it up with that starport. I imagine we're going to be going for an add-on swap for a Banshee opener, but we'll see if we do invest into that tech lab. Hellion production has commenced, and I'm keeping my eye on that production tab for the would-be tech lab or any other kind of add-on. And there it is. Tech lab is on the way. So it does look to be Banshees. Interesting. Meanwhile, Moku throwing down a very early Roach Warren. We snipe at that Reaper, but did we see? Did we scout the tech? That is the question. We're checking the vision here, and we did get eyes on the Roach Warren. Did we click on it, though? That's the question. Now, with this early Roach Warren, we should be going for an earlier push. Again, this was around 3:30, 3:25 as a Roach Warren timing. This doesn't have to be an all-in. It could just be a 7 Roach push or even a 9 Roach push. I'm leaning towards more 7. Not the most committed. But thankfully, because Kelazur is opening up Banshee, he should be safe against this. Should be safe. Shouldn't take too much damage. Ooh, as never mind, Moku is going for a massive Overlord explosion. That's 4 Overlords on the way. Big supply block. With that amount of Overlords, he might commit in some more Roaches. As the Hellions, they dive into the middle line. Drones are going down. As 6 workers do fall, and we are re-droning. Okay. We're not going all in. We are re-droning. We are making some Roaches at least, but not too many, actually. Because we're staying on a low Roach count, we, I guess, aren't pushing out. Staying back at home. Which means Kelazur gets away with the dive. Killed a bunch of drones, and he's not going to get punished for it. Like, Hellions, they get outscaled as the game goes on anyway. We wanted to get rid of them. And Kelazur is in a good position. Behind this, third base, of course, Banshee has arrived. As a couple of Roaches move out, they should be cleaned up by said Banshee. They should be forced back. And it's going to be fire. I did mention that Kelazur, he has been known to play mech against Zerg, but here he is going to be playing Bio, thankfully. Going for Stim, double E-base for double upgrades. We have our 4 racks follow-up. It's going to be 5 racks in total here on 3 bases, which is a pretty standard setup. as we ease our way into the mid game. Meanwhile, my eyes are really on Moku. Moku moving out with his roaches does get an SCV kill. Going in towards his lair, now getting into Ling speed. Double Evo Chamber on the way. I would not be surprised if we see melee upgrades on these Evo Chambers instead of range upgrades to go into Ling Bane as a transition. I'm curious. I'm curious if we're going to double down on Roach Ravager or go Ling Bane Roach Ravager instead. Ooh, fast infestation pit, okay. I see you. You get the fast pit instead from Moku. Interesting. Baneliness is on the way, so it looks like it is going to be Ling Bane to help support. We do invest into +1 range, though. Interesting. So we're still investing into range. This could mean that we want to go into... I was going to say Hydra Tech and Lurker Tech, but there's no Hydra Den. Interesting. Okay. So we are just building up those Roach upgrades. Ooh, Infestation before a fast Infestor. Okay. Infestor's on the way. I mean, that's a great way to support this army. Now, one good Fungal could spell the end of Kelazur's army. One good Fungal is all we need. As Kelazur does him forward. Dancing with the Roaches, dancing with the Lings. Rotating around. Raptors are on the way. And Kelazur is just skirting around the edge. He's not really committing to anything. He should be avoiding those Fungals. As I say, that big Fungal does connect. That was almost disastrous. The Marines, they barely did survive. One Marine goes down at the same time. A big Ling counterattack gets a tank. Oh, we did bleed out a lot of Lings. Good pickup nonetheless. Efficient trade here by Moku. Does overextend for a moment, only bleeding out Lings. Does pull back. Hive is on the way. Oh my god. Rushing into a Hive. Of course, Kelazur is now aware of the Infestors. Is now aware. And we're going for some drop play. We're going for a multi-pronged harass, actually. Double drop towards the left, double drop towards the right. Drones are going down. And Lings, they trickle in. We do have a Fungal, though. And the Fungal, ooh, does connect. File's going to be thrown down, but alas, a little bit mistimed, and Kelazur does get away. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, Dustin forward. Gets a Roach, doesn't quite get the Queen. Quick transfuse. Jump is coming back in. Do we have a Fungal? We do not! No Fungal available. Kelazur gaining momentum, gaining speed. This I was not expecting, by the way. We invested into +1 range, and we are going into Ultras. That was the last thing I was expecting, but okay. So we're rushing into the Hive to rush into Ultra Tech. Vipers, of course, on the way. Adrenal as well, but we have +0 melee. Do have +1 Carabase at least, but... yeah, I'm not so sure if I'm fond of this from Moku. As the Marines, they're slipping on forward, they're collapsing on the Queens. Big Ling counter attack. We go for the hatchery. Ooh, we do take the blast to the face, but the hatchery goes down. Back at home, we have plenty to defend. We get the drop into the natural. Everything is flashing. Everything is on fire. Looks like we should clean up these Marines at the natural base. We get a kill on the 5th. That's going to be a kill on the 4th and the 5th base. Moku's knocked down to 3 base economy. Despite his drone count, not able to make use of it. And even then, the drone count is low. He's been bleeding out too much, and Kelazur, he's just pulling Moku apart. Do have Vipers on the way. We have that Ultra Tech, I guess, but Moku does not have the economy to max out. Moku can't sustain himself. He's triple expanding. Moku triple expanding desperately, but that's a kill immediately. Oh my god! A cancel, sorry. We cancel the 7th. The 6th even. We do force to cancel the 6th. We dive onto Creep, going for the Queens. Despite the transfuse, 1, 2 Queens go down. We catch a Viper. We get one. Oh god! We get all 3 Vipers. We land with a power bomb, but that was well worth it here for Kelliser. Big pickoffs. Ay, ay, ay. Diego, papi, calm down. Jesus. Björn, is that you? Björndra, get out of Kelliser. As we do have our drop coming in from behind as well, slipping in towards that main. We still only have 1-1, by the way, +1 range and +1 carapace. So even though we have ultras, these are not the best upgraded ultras. They are still vulnerable. Kelliser moving out. Moku has been able to re-drone, droning up to 80. Bailing does connect. Ultras are revealed. Now, what's important here as we're getting into these ultras, I believe we don't have a Ghost Academy. Marauder production has commenced. Oh, never mind. The drop, it snowballs out of control. We get 10 drone kills. We get the Queen, we get the Roaches, we get the Ravagers, we get everything. 16 drones go down. A very nice target firing there out of Kelliser. 17 drones. Ay, ay, ay. And now we're getting into the Hydra Den. After the fact. Remember, initially I assumed it was going to be Hydras because of the +1 range upgrades, and now we're getting there. We still have the Ultras out. We did invest in the Ultra. I think Kindness Plating is done. And Ultra Speed. The army does take some swipes to the face. Mercury, not a bad fight. Not a bad fight, but the Banshees, they slip in. Limited anti-air, we go for the Queens, but the Power Bomb should clean this up. Oh, as we snipe 1, 2, 3 Queens. Good pickups there by Kelliser. Does catch 3 Queens. And again, Moku, like, his upgrades in his tech is still lacking. That's the biggest deficit here for Moku. There we go, starting up +1 melee at the 12-minute mark, at the 13-minute mark. Meanwhile, 3-3 is done. That's the upgrade disparity right now. 3-3 is done for the Terran. +1 melee is on the way for the Zerg. Now, with these spellcasters, there's a chance, is what I will say. You know, Moku, to make up for the lack of upgrades, we have spellcasters, we have Infestors, we have Vipers. They can pop off. Speaking of, very nice target firing out of Kelliser. Sniping those Banes. Drops are coming in. We have a triple drop towards the left. The Vipers, no! I just spoke about the spellcasters and they will escape. But the drops are dragging the army back. Okay, we're maxed out. Moku is maxed out. He can take a fight. There's a world where if he is able to win a fight decisively, then he can keep pushing and hit a base. He can hit a base, try to cripple the economy, and win from there. Like, as amazing as this aggression has been from Kelliser, his transition to Ghost has been late. It's been a late transition from Kelliser. So because of that, Moku still does have a chance. Ghosts are massing as we speak. Medevacs are going down. Good pickups. And here we go, Moku's committing. But we have a massive wall of tanks. The Ghosts get caught. The Ghosts, they do get caught out. The wall of tanks, not quite within range. Good snipes. We get 1 Ultra. Almost 2. Almost 2 here. As is Kelliser mining efficiently? We haven't been looking at the mineral lines of Kelliser. He's on 80 SCVs, but I don't think he's mining from top right or bottom left. So I'm a little bit concerned, actually, now that I look at that. I want to see the gas income as well, because Kelliser, he has been lacking in that gas. But here we go. We do see Moku rotating around. Yeah, it does hit that top right base. Again, even though this base has been under control of Kelliser for a long time, there are no SCVs, no workers, no economy. No workers there, I should say. And Kelliser is just burning through his gas so quickly. Here we go, we catch some of these tanks. We just snipe 2 of those ultras. And there's no repair. The planetary is going to go down. Big pick off. Planetary does fall. And Kelliser, he's hurting. Like, again, like, despite the worker count, I'm not so certain that we've been mining efficiently here for Kelazur. I have no control over the camera, so we can't check, but... Yeah, this is still up in the air. Like, Moku can take this, 100%. Can try to take this. We do see Kelazur setting up here towards the left. Nuke going to be going up. The Liberation Zone's going ham here on the army. Kelazur will pick up. We'll get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, the nuke, will it connect? It will not. Barely do catch it. We barely do catch the ghost. You see Moku pushing in. Gases are being taken. Kelazur, he needs these gases desperately. Likewise, Kelazur needs top right as well. Or he needs these bases. As Moku suddenly has map control, going for the blinding clouds. Catching some of these ghosts. A big blinding clouds here on the tanks. The tanks, they were bunched up. But the ghosts, they stand strong. A good trade for Kelazur. And Moku just ramming his face against the defensive wall of Terran. A fight that Kelazur was looking for. Was that all the ultras? Uh-oh. That may have been all the ultras for Moku. As, I believe the ultra count was reset. Base is going to be going down. We have Ling Hydra to work with here. Two Ling Hydra, and you can see the Ling Hydra melt. Where are the Banelings? Where are the Lurkers? Without splash damage, we can do nothing. And Kelazur, okay, the Kelazur's fine. It was the ultra count, the sustained ultra count that was really carrying Moku there, but without those ultras, with that previous fight, there's just nothing that can hold on. Kelazur is snowballing out of control. Banelings, they crash into a single tank, and Kelazur is cleaning this up. Again, Moku was holding his own for some time. Was absorbing quite a lot of punches, and Kelazur, he was popping off here this game. But Moku did make a game out of it. What I will say, yeah, there it is. GG gets called, and Kelazur, Diego, he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. I was concerned for a moment there, not gonna lie. I was concerned, but GG, well played, Diego. He will take it in the end. Moku had a really odd way of teching. That's the biggest concern that I had that game. If you remember, Moku went for initially a really fast Roach Warren, but he only made like 5 Roaches, so he didn't commit to an early Roach push. Then he went into 1-1 Roach upgrades with a Baneling Nest. Then he rushed into a Hive and Infestation Pit, into some Infestors, into a Hive, into Ultra from there, by the way, despite not really having the upgrades for it. Then into a Hydra Den, then into like, it felt a little bit messy there from Moku, and it felt like we needed a little bit more direction there from him, and without said direction, yeah, Kelazur was able to have so much more control, so much more momentum on his side, and GG, well played. Of course, the drop play was beautiful, was insane, but a big reason why the drop play was doing well is because we had no answer for the drops. We had no Spire, we had no Hydrogen for a long time. It looked like maybe we were trying to rely on Queens and Vipers, but we were sniping so many Queens and so many Vipers, like that was just not good enough. Impressive stuff there by Kelazur. GG, well played, and now it's going to be on Moku to bounce back. It's going to be on Moku, and what is going to be our map of choice? We're going to be loading into Post Youth. Let's go. Post Youth is going to be coming up next. Interesting map here for Moku. It is a much larger map, with, of course, the hybrid base is natural, with the gold base that you can rush into as well. I'm curious if Moku has a specialized build for this map. I imagine he will. Let's go, as we're going to be loading in to game number 2. And in the top right hand corner, we have Kelazur for Platinum R8. And in the bottom left, we have for Twisted Fairy, Moku. Let's go. Let us go. as Moku once again, for the first time this series, going for a 15-15, 15 a hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. Interesting choice. This is a very safe way to play, very safe way to open up. As we're going to have a faster a faster gas geyser. Gas? What am I saying? I saw the gas on the way. We're going to have a faster spawning pool because a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. 15-15, that's where the name comes from. And we'll lead into faster queens and lings. Meanwhile, Kelazur going CC first. Let's go. The greed is real, and this is kind of like the new Radster Station in a way. It's not as extreme as Radster Station, but it did replace it when it comes to the greed you can get away with. Because your main base is so secure, in a TVZ it does make a lot of sense. We've seen a lot of CC firsts here, quite a greedy build. Do we double down on the greed? Do we go CC first into racks, into third CC, into a 3-racks follow-up? I'm curious. Kelazur, what do you have for us? How greedy do we want to be? How much do we try to get away with? Now again, because of Moku's opener, he can't really be too assertive or too aggressive. If Kelazur was overly greedy, Moku, I don't think he can punish him. So Kelazur would get away with it. Just with how these builds pair with each other. As the Overlord is dipping in, gonna be getting confirmation of the timing of the CC. So we are now aware of how greedy Kelazur has been. We are aware Moku going for his third hatchery. Ooh, going gasless. Okay, we're meeting greed with greed. That is going to be a gasless build for Moku. It isn't just a 15-15, 15-15 into a third base. 0 gas has been taken so far by Moku because we don't need it. We will be relying on purely droning and queens. And again, because of the nature of this map, you can cut corners like this. From both sides, right? We have Moku going gasless, we have Kelazur going CC first. Could even go into a third CC, but didn't. Reaper dips in, gets confirmation of the droning at least at the natural, but has not seen the third base yet. He sees no gases in the natural and he confirms 0 gas in the main. Now he knows. He has seen enough to confirm that it's going to be a fast third base with a gasless build. Didn't see the hatchery, but he can infer it. And with this, how do we respond? There it is, third CC before starport. Just your standard economic follow-up. Roach Warren on the way, standard as well. When you open up gasless, because your gases are so late, because that delays ling speed for so long, usually you skip ling speed and you go straight into roaches instead. This is the case in this matchup, in any matchup. You would typically see this against Terran or against Zerg. Gasless builds are rare against Protoss. There it is, the Roach Warden's on the way. Is in production. Hellions, they dip in just to confirm the creep, but they don't really commit. Kelazur just ensuring that, okay, there is a third. Ooh, and this is wild behind this. It's going to be a 3cc, not Banshee, it's going to be 3cc to starport into Battle Cruiser. And remember, in Game 1, I was talking about how Kelazur is willing to embrace mech from time to time. Didn't play mech in Game 1. Ooh, as we're getting a bit of a pause. But BCs can more seamlessly transition into mech. So BC into mech would not surprise me. Would not surprise me as we're getting a bit of a pause. Looks like we have maybe some technical issues. Hopefully they can be resolved momentarily. We are getting into our builds and here we go. Ooh. Hellions are going to be backing up. Overlord shuts down, or Overlord gets shut down. Lair is on the way, and the BC is now in production. Now, did the Overlord scout the BC? I don't think it did. Roaches are pushing, gases are being taken. Yamato is on the way. Now, this doesn't have to be BC into mech. It's just, just saying that it can seamlessly transition, and it does accompany mech quite nicely. Could still be into bio, but there it is. We're reactoring out cyclones. Yeah, it's BC into mech. Let's go. Show us the additional factories. Be more crazy. Throw down the second starport. And there it is. There's a second factory on the way, so it is mech. So Kalazar, he is meching it up here, as we assumed he would at some point. And we've seen quite a lot of players have success with mech as of late. If you were tuning into ESL Olympic of Asia over the past month, you would have seen Kyor, you would have seen Gumiho, and Björn play different forms and variations of mech. Oliveira has been dabbling in mech as well. A lot of the Terrans, a lot of the Korean Terrans, they have been mixing mech into their series, into their matches. Meanwhile, the BC gets across the map. The Queens are in position. The Queens are in position. We shut down the BC. We force it back. It is going to be forced back. And instead we're going for some Viking harass. Let's go. Up. We get a drone. We get one. Only one. One drone goes down, BC comes in. The BC got 2 drone kills earlier and won't get a third. So far so good for Moku. He's able to keep up. Yamato is now done, so we can get Yamato up. Speaking of can, we will. Queen goes down. Spire is on the way. Link Speed is on the way. So we're starting with Roach Ravager. It should be Link Bane Roach Ravager. As we confirm it's mech. We do have confirmation. Nice hold position on those Lings. We get a couple of SCVs. Ooh, as Moku overextends, he does get 6 workers, which is nice, but he's going to be bleeding out a lot of these roaches. Every roach going to be going down. Moku, he realizes his fate. He's going to trade as best he can. He takes down 1 Cyclone and some Hellions. He's taking out whatever he could as he did fall. +1 vehicle weapons on the way. Continued BC production. That's what's interesting to me. Because we invested into Yamato, we do have continued BCs. We have 2 BCs for now. I believe that's a 3rd battle cruiser on the way. I believe that's going to be the 4th and 5th factory as well. So we're getting into our production, into our 3 base setup, soon to be 4 bases. BCs do move out. The Spire is done, and we're getting into anti-air. We do focus down another Queen, though. Yamato's going to be popping off. 2 more Queens go down. We're going for the isolated Queen. At the same time, Link Roach on the right-hand side. We do slip in. Tank is exposed, but it does not go down. Good defense by Kalazar. Does get 4 drone kills, 3 Queens. Shuts down the Roaches. And there it is, 15 Corruptors on the way. That's a lot of Corruptors, man. That's a lot of Corruptors. Oh boy. And so we do see Moku amassing up more links behind this. Digit up to 73. Has the gold base. Moku is fully saturated. Can focus on his macro and his army production. Kalazar gets caught out in the middle of his move out. We're waiting for these BCs to expose themselves. The Corruptors are on the way. There are 15 of them. Moku going to be investing into Swarmhost. I'm not opposed to this against a slower mech composition. Swarmhost can do well. As we do get a BC. We get 1. We get 2. 2 BCs go down. Again, their recalls on cooldown. 1 BC does survive. Swarmhosts are on the way. Moku is maxing out. Now, this wave of Swarmhosts is going to be very important. Where do we use it? Right now, the Natural's looking a little bit more exposed. I believe there is no sensor tower. That's a pretty big deal. Kalazar, he has very little time to react. Corruptors, they get into the main. Missile darts are finishing. The towers are finishing up. We're going for the wave at the 3rd, actually. Can we get any tanks? That's the question here. We're going to be flying past. We're going for the tanks in the back line. There we go. 1, 2, 3 tanks go down. We do not get the 4th. Corruptors are coming back. Ooh, they go past the Cyclones and the turrets as well. Moku leading out a lot of those Corruptors. Not like this. That one BC going ham. Again, I'm pretty sure Moku just like switched his control group to the Corruptor, just like clicked on the BC, and they happen to just go through everything. Corruptor's coming back in. We teleport away with the BC. Second Locust Wave. Oh, that is premature. But we do take down 2 of those tanks. You can see the Locust Wave is about to run down. It's not really adding too much here. But regardless, the Roach Ravager is gaining ground. And we take down 1 more tank. Well, that cost us a lot of Roach Ravager. That was a brutal trade for Moku. He's remaxing with 23 more Roaches. Now, bearing in mind that that defense was a lot cleaner from Kelazar. And over time, Kelazar is going to be weathering the storm. He's going to be going blow for blow with these attacks, with these punches. But his army is going to be amassing. It's very important here for Moku to make sure every fight is able to trade somewhat well. Sniping tanks. Speaking of, look at how exposed these tanks are. We get 1. We get 2. 3 tanks. We managed to get 3 tanks here. And we go for the planetary. It's so close. Ooh, the planetary barely goes down. Big pickup. Kelazar can chase down these Ravagers, but I'm not confident that Kelazar can counterattack. They'll take down a Corruptor. I mean, he needs to do something, to be fair. Shaves off some of these things. Tanks are pushing forward. Kelazar, he needs to break Moku here and now. BC going ham. That BC is supporting quite well. But the Locust Wave is available. Corruptors, they go for the CC, that would be 5th. The Locust Wave is forced out. That's going to be an orbital, not a planetary, as the 4th. Another BC is going to be going down as well. Oh, the Biles! Oof. Final battlecruiser has fallen, and Moku's still maxed out. The low drone count is concerning, definitely, but Moku is sustaining himself. Maxing out once again. Go Locust Wave towards the gold base. The golds could pay off here for Kelazar, but we get a full surround. And the base is gonna fall. Yeah, there's no saving that Nexus. We see Kelazar desperately quadruple expanding. That's 4 CCs on the way. Bappy. Would you catch some of these swarm hosts? Should manage to get some damage done. You can see here the supply is closing a little bit. Kelazar creeping up in that army supply. Corruptors in the main, being a nuisance. Locust Wave once again towards the 3rd base. Kelazar getting pulled apart. Tanks are exposed. Where's the supports? Here comes a Hellion Cyclone. We get 1, we get 2 tanks. 2 tanks go down. The Wiles as well. They barely don't get another tank. Once again, this was a brutal trade for Moku. Bleeds out a lot of Ravagers. And Moku's hurting a little bit. Because Moku is staying on a low drone count, he is barely sustaining himself. Barely. Like, he does not have a bank to work with. Because of those low drones. 1 more bad fight, and Kelazar, he's going to take a supply lead. I would say even now he has a supply lead. My army supply specifically. Loses 2 tanks. Only 2. Like, bearing in mind that Moku has a lot of dead supply whenever he doesn't have a Locust Wave going. And the Roach Ravager is inefficient as well. Kelazar is moving out. They're going for the gold once again. Ooh, Labaze take down the Banshee. Greater Spiral on the way for Moku. That I do like. I do appreciate taking up towards Broodlords. That I do appreciate. As we have a Locust Wave headed towards the natural. Scan does reveal it. Natural base under fire. CVs are going down. Road Ravager here towards the left-hand side as well. We take down 2 tanks. They're desperately trying to expand. Attempting to expand. We get some lock-ons off. The new old Cyclone trading decently against Road Ravager. But here comes that Greater Spire, and that will change things. Now, what's important is that the Spire, I believe, doesn't have amazing upgrades. I think we're on 0-0. Was another Banshee goes down. These are brutal losses for Kellizer. Locust Wave comes in, we get a gas. We get 2. Both gas guys just go down. Finally, that Nidus is going to be dealt with. But it's paid for itself. 9 SEVs. The Road Ravager's coming in. Where are the tanks? It's pure Cyclone. Tanks are coming in now. Just in time. Bathing speed halfway done. It is +1 air attack on the way for Moku. We spoke about this, but again, doesn't have the best upgrades for his would-be Broodlords. Disruptors going ham. Cyclones have arrived. 2 repair in time. Look at this max out once again. The Banshee. God, that's like what? The 4th Banshee going down to Vials? Aye. I mean, shout out to Moku finding these opportunities. Again, Kellizer just having a bit of a lapse in attention when it comes with his Banshees. Time and time again, the tanks are exposed. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks. There is 5 tanks go down. Can we get a 6? Oh. We don't quite get the 6th tank, but we get the planetary. Even better. Sniping a base. Oof, Swarmhost does fall though. And with the death of a lot of that Road Ravager, with the Locust Wave on cooldown, we are exposed. And here come the Cyclones. This is the downside of Moku's army. Again, supply inefficient, dead supply as well at certain moments. Oh, hands are off the keyboard. Yeah, there's just not enough to hold on. Kellizer snowballs out of control with his counterattack. GG, and Kellizer takes the series 2-0. Oh my god! Because I haven't seen much of Goblin as of late, so I don't know where to place him skill-wise. Like, he's more of an enigma to me, at least. Maybe he's more active in, like, CSO, like the CSO Cup, for example, or some other European-based online tournaments, or maybe like the Platinum Heroes Cup. I know that Platinum Heroes have their own in-game or in-house tournaments, so maybe Goblin is more active there. But yeah, I don't know where to place Goblin currently in modern StarCraft, in current era of StarCraft. So this is going to be an interesting one. Something to bear in mind as well is that it is a PvP, so anything can happen. Even though I favor, and I do think that Stats is a stronger, well-rounded player, like when it comes to overall, like in PvT and PvZ and PvP, I would rate Stats quite a bit higher. But specifically in this head-to-head, could go either way. And if we get a 1-1, then we can force the ace match. And I mentioned before that WTL favors prepared builds. It favors prepared play and more strategic kind of approaches to this series. Goblin, even if he loses game 1, I'm sure he's very well prepared for game number 2. He's a man with a plan, with some kind of Roddy build, I'm sure. Transformation, but here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have Goblin for Platinum R8. And in the top right, we have a Wizard Fairy Stats. Let's go. Stats versus Goblin. A PvP on Ghost River of all maps is going to be wild. Ghost River is a very aggressive map. And I'm curious how we open up. Is anyone bold enough to go for a gate expand? What do you have? Gateways are thrown down so far, mirrored builds. I imagine going to be 2 gate openers, but I'm looking for any kind of deviation. Stats does send his probe out on the map. Does send it out. Gases are being taken. And we can see Goblin a little bit paranoid. He's going to be checking his natural, making sure that there is no proxy in his own natural base. It's going to be a 2-gate opener from Goblin. Stats. What do you have in store for us? Because I do not see a second gateway for good reason. Stats is trying to be greedy. He's being economic. It looks like a gate expand from Stats. Show us the Cyber Core. There it is. It's a gate expand. Stats going for the Max Packs build. Going for a Max Packs opener. Okay. So, this is going to force a bit of a chain reaction here. Goblin, he goes in. He should be aware of what's going on. Yep, he does see the lack of second gateway. He knows that a Nexus is on the horizon. And now Goblin has the opportunity to punish this with an all-in. Oh, sorry, Goblin has the opportunity to punish this with an all-in. As Stats is cutting corners. Speaking of, there's Stats in position for the expand. Goblin setting up a proxy pylon. Yep, it's going to be a proxy. It's going to be a one-base... actually, I was going to say it's going to be a one-base all-in. You can see Stats, he's looking for the proxy. He knows that the pylon is... the third pylon, at least, is missing. He's looking for a pylon. Now, this center location looks prime for proxy Stargate. I don't think this is going to be Robo, but never mind. I have to eat my words because it is a Robo. I was going to say that this looks quite far away for a Robo because it takes a while to reinforce with Immortals. And it is far away. I stand by that. But I guess because the map itself is very small, the map itself is very short, you can just throw down the Robo wherever you want, apparently. Apparently it doesn't matter. Just throw it down. So it's a one-base all-in. One-base all-in from Goblin. Now, Stats, I'm sure, is familiar with this possibility, you know, with the potential of your opponent trying to punish you for going for a greedy build. Stats is going for a third gateway, so he has, sorry, for a second gateway. He has at least 2 gateways, but I have yet to see any tech from Stats. Typically, we would see a Stargate or a Robo. Hallucination is coming in, and we should confirm that there's nothing here. Yeah, we can see Stats. He just canceled a Twilight Council. He starts up a Robo. He knows there's an all-in. He is aware. He's trying to get ready. Well, he needs time. His Robo just started. There's going to be a window. There's going to be a big window here where Goblin does have that advantage going for him. With the Robo, with the Prism, with the Immortal. There it is. Immortal's on the way. And Goblin is going straight for the main. Now, Stats. Can we hold? Can we defend? Do we have it? We should have a shield battery in the main. We should have a shield battery in the main base. Stats. Once dubbed the Shield of Fire. There's no shield battery, by the way. Uh-oh. Adepts, they're going in. Shield battery just starts. Now we bust into the main base. Probes are going down. We get 3 probe kills so far. We get a 4th probe and we shade away. Good start by Goblin. Here comes the ground army. Immortal and sentries towards the natural. Stats still in trouble. Yeah, Adepts, they're going once again into the mineral line. Probes are going down. And to be fair, the shield battery would not help the probes survive this, but again, would help when it comes to the head-to-head battle that's soon to ensue. Here we go. We're pushing towards that natural. Show us the force fields. Who's going to force field first? Adepts are shading in. Adepts are shading forward. Force fields on the army. Stats, he gets trapped. Focus down the shield battery. Focus down the sentries as well. Stats trying to escape. Again, force fields thrown down from both sides. The Immortal does come into play. With the help of the overcharge, Stats holds on. The overcharge put in a lot of work. Thankfully, there were 2 shield batteries, but we force field more of these units. Every adept. We focus on every adept there. Stats, he wants that prism. He won't get it. Trading sentry for sentry. Stats falling back. We're running out of force fields. I believe that's the last one. Yeah, no more force fields available. We focus down the Immortal. Big pickup. Good juggling here by Goblin. The Immortals are so low, but the juggling is good enough. As I say that, we're running out of sentries. Goblin is running out of steam. Up. 2 Immortals and 2 Stalkers. And Goblin, he's barely breaking through again. The juggling was on point. And Stats, he's hurting. Stats, he's up against the wall. We shade into the main. We don't commit. But the Immortals drop in instead. And we rotate around towards the natural. Stats getting pulled apart. We do have the overcharge, but we just don't have enough units. We depower the shield batteries. Bit of an Artosis pylon there. And GG gets called. Stats, he gets punished for the greed for his opener. And Goblin takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. As a reminder, Stats, it took him a little bit too long to realize it was an all-in. Remember, winding it back, Stats was going for a Twilight Council first. He was going for the Twilight Council, and then once he pieced it together, once the hallucination got into the main, then he had to. But that was a very chaotic game, and here we go in the top left-hand corner, we have Goblin for Platinum R8. And in the bottom right, we have for Twisted Fairy, Stats. We saw him have more of a smile on his face at the start of game 1, more jovial. Here, the pressure is on. Here we are in serious mode for Stats. And again, as I was getting into, I do kind of favor Stats in a more standard game, in a longer game, in a more macro-oriented game. But that game 1 was very chaotic. Stats had very little room for error, very little time to react. And in the midst of all that chaos, Goblin took advantage of Stats. So after what just happened, I expect a 2-gate opener. I expect a standard 2-gate opener out of Stats here in game 2. But we'll see. We shall see. Like right now, I feel like the goal for Stats is like, get me into the mid game. Like get me into a 2-base economy, get me into a 3-base economy, and I can take it to Goblin. And there it is. Yep, 2-gate opener for both players. This does make sense. And again, to be fair, it wasn't just the fact that Stats had opened up greedily in game 1. It was the fact that he went for a greedy build on Ghost River of all maps. Like, he was baiting it all in. It was wild. So, a wild choice there by Stats. Here we go. For now, mirrored builds, it's going to be a 2-gate opener all around, and now we get to play our favorite game of PvP. What 2 units come out first? Is it going to be double Adept, double Stalker, or Stalker Sentry? Which pairing of units come out first? And that will kind of dictate the approach that our players want to take. Cyber cores are done, and we have our answer. It's going to be Stalker Sentry from both players. I expected this out of Stats. Goblin doing the same. Interesting. Now, Stalker Sentry is very defensive. Very defensive opener here. It allows you to... Oh, it means you're going to be staying back at home. You're going to be going for a hallucination scout across the map to get a read on what your opponent is up to. So just a very defensive opener here for both Goblin and Stats. So we're just easing away. After a very intense game 1, we're calming things down in game number 2. Calming things down, Bobby. We have our next side on the way. Goblin and Stats. And we're going for our take of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council here from Stats. Meanwhile, Goblin has yet to determine his, as Goblin did prioritize 2 more sentries. So he's spending his gas on sentries first before his tech. And now we have our take of choice. Makes sense. Alongside these sentries, we're going for a Robo that should be for earlier Immortal production, to make up for how late our blink is going to be and how little map control Goblin is going to have. The way this dynamic works, Stats with the faster Twilight Council, with the faster blink, he has map control. He will be able to expand and take a faster 3rd base as a result of that, and will have the better economy. Meanwhile, Goblin is going to be turtling up more back at home, catching up in all that tech, and slowly establishing himself on 2, then 3 bases. It does mean that Goblin has potential for a stronger move out though, if we do indeed invest into earlier Immortals. That's the question. Because it should be Observer first. But we'll see. Oh, my apologies. It's not the Observer first. It's going to be a Prism first. Okay. Goblin wants to move out. Interesting. This is bold. Twilight Council's done. Okay, now it's all coming together. And he gets scouted. No shot. Statsy dives in just in time to see everything in the main base. Sees the robot, the Twilight Council, and the Dark Shrine as well. We should force a cancel, but at this point we may just let it finish. I do think regardless of the choice we're going to make, we're waiting for that hallucination to run out. Waiting for the hallucination to be dealt with. And the Dark Shrine has not been cancelled. It's not been cancelled. We haven't started up any upgrades. Immortal production has commenced. As we mentioned, it makes sense for a robot opener to lead into earlier Immortals. And it looks like we're committing with DTs nonetheless. Now, to be fair, specifically PvP can be chaotic enough where even if you scout a Dark Shrine, DTs can still get damage done. But Robo's out and Observers should be on the way for stats. And there it is. Observers in production. Meanwhile, Goblin moving out across the map. He's got sentries. He has stalkers. We have a little bit of everything. The kitchen sink. We do spot the main army. DTs are being morphed in as well. Immortal moves out. Goblin committing with everything here. Okay. Stats is taking this seriously, and he is in position. Blink is done. Force fields are not going to be good enough. Blink is now on cooldown. Good force fields. Blink just barely runs out in time. Does blink away. And we have yet to waste the overcharge. So very clean defense here from stats overall. Or just, again, doesn't overreact. Doesn't panic. As we blink on forward, and we might even catch the Immortal. Uh-oh. The Immortal's going to be going down. It's so low. One more volley is all we need, and we will get it. We did take some extra hits, though. Yeah, Stats does have to back off. The Prism does arrive. Good juggling here with that Archon. Ooh, and Stats bleeds out a lot. Again, that Tall Grass working against Stats heavily there. He got 2 hits to the face before he could finally collapse on that Immortal. It took 2 hits to the face. So really nice engagement there by Goblin, making the best out of a bad situation. Behind this, Goblin has the higher drone count, or the probe count. 62 workers. 4th base is on the way from Stats instead. Blink is on the way for Goblin. More Immortals. Meanwhile, Stats investing into Charge and his own Immortal production as well. Okay, we're going to be calming things down here. As Stats, he picks up a probe. Sorry, picks up a stalker. See Goblin maintaining his worker lead, which translates into a larger army as well with all those Immortals. Now, because of the higher Immortal count that Goblin has, Stats is going to have to rely on a more Zealot-heavy composition to help counteract that. Likewise, as Stats is forced into Zealots, as Charge is on the way, that's where Goblin can make use of his Dark Shrine and invest more heavily into Archons. And invest more heavily. Force Goblin back. It's going to be coming down. +2 is on the way for Stats. +1 still on the horizon here for Goblin. So there's a bit of an upgrade window, but it's not open for too much longer. Goblin just needs a little bit more time for his own +1. Backing up. Decent pick off there by Goblin. Kick off as a Goblin does shock around, engaging with the main army. see stats going to be transitioning tech-wise. I do appreciate this. That is a second rover and a bay on the way. We're getting ready for disruptors. Disruptors are on the horizon for stats. The Goblin still committed to his gateway ground army. Keeping his immortals back. Only moving out with his stalkers. Being very careful. It's keeping up with stats, even maintaining his supply lead. As both players are on 4 bases, still sharking around, looking for a way in. Stats just needs to buy time. He shouldn't really be looking to commit into a big fight. He just needs a posture to allow himself to get into disruptors. DG counterattack gets dealt with by the cannon. Zealot run by, shuts down a pylon at least. Does force Goblin back home. And disruptors are now on the way. Stats, he's done it. He has done it. He's been able to buy some time. Keeping the army busy. Teched up into disruptors. And now he's the one with the tech lead. And even though Goblin has the army supply lead, it doesn't matter. Not in the face of disruptors. You can be down 20, 30, 40 army supply. And if you get 2 good Novas, you can make up for that. As I say that, we dive on the army. Big catch in from Goblin. Collapses on the Immortals. One Immortal goes down. The other is exposed as well. Here come the Novas. Big connections. Massive connections here on the Stalkers. Oh my god. But Stats did bleed out his Immortals. And he's in a lot of trouble. We focus on the Disruptors one after the other. Stats, he's up against the wall. Goblin, he's going for the kill. He's going for the throat. Overcharges pop. We focus on the shield battery. Disruptors are on the way. The Novas. They don't connect. Good dodge from a Goblin. The second Nova doesn't connect either. And Goblin, he's done it. He's broken through. Back at home, we have a Zealot counterattack. It is getting some probes. But Goblin, he's cleaning up the main army. Shutting it down. Got a kill on the Robo. Stats, hands off the keyboard. Ah, he knows. He knows, Papi. Oh, it's Goblin. With his hands off as well. GG, well played, Goblin. Papi cruising his way into a win here. Takes down Stats 2-0 in the PvP. Yes, Stats T did make it into those disruptors, did get there in the end, but before he could really join them with the main army, Goblin, he pounced. He pounced on Stats, took down the Immortals, was able to shut down the main army, snowball out of control. GG, well played. The Platinum R8, they take their first series of the season, 4-2 over Twisted Fairy. GG, very well done, very nicely done here. Again, Kellizer, he put in some work as well, of course, for the R8 portion of the team. Goblin as well, I was concerned. Remember, if you recall, I was concerned. I was saying how Goblin, in my mind at least, was an enigma. Like, what is his state of play at the moment? You know, what is his ranking? How does he compare to everyone? I was uncertain of Goblin. But Goblin, he was confident. He came in and he was able to punish Stats in game 1 and pull them apart here in game number 2 as well. GG. GG, well played. Very well done here by Goblin. Very nicely done. And congratulations to Platinum R8. Congratulations. With that, we are going to be done here for the night. It's been a long night, by the way. It's been a long broadcast. 7 hours. It's been over 7 hours of StarCraft. We, of course, initially casted the Sparkling Tuna Cup. That lasted a good chunk of time. And then right after that, we dove into WTL. It's been 7 hours of StarCraft. I'm ready for some bitch. I'm ready. Ay. It's 2 a.m. in the morning, and I wake up at 8. Wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning as well. So I was struggling. I was actually struggling in the finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup. That's why, I don't know if you remember, there was a moment there where I stood up and I was like stretching and like doing squats and stuff. I was losing it a little bit like halfway through the finals of Sparkling Tuna Cup. But I was able to get energy, get my second wind coming into WTL, and it was a great series. It was a great night of StarCraft. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. GG, well played. I believe we're going to be getting an eye on the standings. Now that we have wrapped up round one of WTL Code S, I believe they're just getting the bracket ready for, or the bracket updated so we can have a look at the standings. Now, the standings don't really matter too much because it's been only 1 week, so it's like 1 win and 1 loss. But, you know, it'll be nice to have a look at the standings to see where everyone is. It's not really too telling just because it is week 1. It's going to take a couple of weeks for the standings to really start to solidify and start to really showcase, you know, who's ahead, who's not, who needs wins, who doesn't. It's going to take a while for the standings to really start to fill out and really start to be meaningful. What I will say when it comes to some of the losing teams, and we can go over them once we see the standings, is that they do have some time here to recover and to bounce back. Clearly, again, we have 10 more weeks of the round robin stage. 10 more weeks, papi. This will mess up the rankings. It will. It will. I mean, I feel like a lot of teams have leveled up. A lot of teams have leveled up. Like, Mystery Gaming has a much more solid... actually, Mystery Gaming is very different. Mystery Gaming, if you remember, they lost Shin and they lost Bunny. They lost 2 of their key players. So, Mystery Gaming, they went through a bit of a revitalization. They went through, like, a bit of a facelift, and they did well here tonight. They did well tonight. If you remember, Mystery Gaming, they took down offside. I'm curious how Mystery Gaming will handle themselves in these up-and-coming matches as well, in these up-and-coming weeks. Likewise, Platinum Heroes, they basically, like, got a full revamp as well. They lost a bunch of players, they picked up a bunch of players. Platinum Heroes is almost, like, unrecognizable now. Like, there's a lot of new faces, just like a fresh team, basically. But here we go, we have the standings. Bam. We'll zoom in. We'll zoom in on the standings. Bam, there we go. Okay. At the very top, after week 1, we have Mystery Gaming. Mystery Gaming there as number 1. We have Team Vitality as number 2. Shopify Rebellion as number 3. Team Liquid, Platinum Heroes are 8. And Starlight Twinkle. They are the top 6 teams. And the bottom 6, Basilisk, Twisted Fairy, Psystorm Na'Vi, Berserker, CranKy Z, and Offside. I recommend the VODs. If you missed out, if you did not watch every night of WTL, go to YouTube, go to CranKy Ducklings, check out the VODs, check out the live tab, which is where all the VODs are of our most recent broadcasts, and we had some crazy games. Basilisk, they lost their first round. Basilisk, they were second place, by the way. They got top 2 last season. Top 2 only to Onside, which is now Team Vitality. And Basilisk, oh, let's go down for now. Hold on, let's go back to that. But yeah, Basilisk, they start things off with a loss. That's crazy, by the way. Crazy to see Basilisk on the bottom half of the rankings here. Likewise, we have who else? Psystorm Na'Vi. They underperformed. Psystorm Na'Vi, they had a rough week. They had a rough showing. I do think, though, that it was just one of those things where, like, it was just an off day for some of their players. I believe they can bounce back. CranKy Z Gaming, they went up against a big team. And CranKy Z Gaming, they also have a new issue to overcome. As a reminder, Dark left the team. Dark, he left DKZ, he joined Talon Esports instead, which means DKZ, they're no longer the powerhouse they once were. Remember, they used to be Hero, Dark, and Oliveira. Like, DKZ, they got what, top 3 last season? Like, and even before that, they've been WTO champions before. Like, DKZ, they were the team. And now without Dark, it feels like that was a key component. It feels like he was a key component. Obviously, they still have Hero. He's still the best Protoss in the world. True. They still have Oliveira, but their number 3 is a little bit shaky. And I'm curious to see how Sue does. If you're curious, DKZ picked up Sue. They picked up Sue to replace Dark. They also have Jeshi as well. Jeshi has been improving. Jeshi, he has been looking good. I almost want to say maybe I want to say Jeshi over Sue. I'm not sure. I haven't seen enough of Sue. I've only seen Sue recently in the GSL qualifiers. They looked okay. So I mean, he qualified. He qualified for GSL. So yeah, I'm really excited to see more of Sue. Is mainly the big thing. I went on a rant the other day when we were casting DKZ, specifically saying that Sue has been a part-time player for the past year, which is why he hasn't really broken in and broken out. But with Sue getting picked up by DKZ, I'm pretty sure that they're offering him a pretty good salary, and I would like to believe that this is a good opportunity for Stu to focus on StarCraft again and not be a part-time player and commit a little bit harder and actually improve like Stats has been. We'll see. We shall see. Regardless, we're done here for the night. We are done for the night. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much everyone for the support as well. We do appreciate it. Again, it was a long broadcast, almost 7.5 hours. With that, we are done here for now. We're going to be back tomorrow, as we always are, every single day. We got plenty of StarCraft. Let me just double check the calendar. We are going to be back tomorrow with ESL Open Cup Asia in less than 24 hours. We're going to be returning with some Korean StarCraft. So enjoy. Do enjoy the ESL Open Cup tomorrow. Do look forward to it. We'll see you guys then. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. ! Socials in the chat where you can follow us. ! Patreon if you want to support us as well. Yeah, all the good things. All things CranKy Ducklings. Go and get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow for ESL Asia. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. Ciao.